We should be live. There we go. We're definitely live. How's it going? So, dude, the TYT. I forgot how fucking annoying they are. Let me just react to this shit again. Like, this is this is just so fucking bad. So apparently, I don't know. This sounds sort of like the gas stove thing. Like, yeah, people were making studies about how gas stoves are like bad for your kids, that like they might give them, what the fuck was it called, like epilepsy or some shit. Not epilepsy, fucking what's it called when you cough a lot and shit? Dude, I'm so fucking high. It's not called being high. I know I cough a lot when I smoke, bro. It's like fucking, dude. Should I even keep trying to look for the word on it? Yeah, asthma. Alright, yeah,
All right,
whatever.
we're going to play a game in a
Let's
second
see
called
this
What
shit.
is Charlie Kirk Pretending?
Dude, I should probably add Charlie Kirk in my title in it. Bro, I don't know what the fuck it is with the tags. It's like, bro, I'm legit gonna have to, bro, let's see. What's Kirk? I'm legit gonna have to do that. Wait. Because, like, the tags, I don't know if YouTube's just being fucking retarded again, but, like, yeah, let me try to add that to... Oh my god, now I can't fucking scroll. This is so bad. Dude, I saw, like, I started seeing him, like, in ads of YouTube, and it's like, he seems like a genuine person. He seems like the average person who fucking comes to school with me. Dude, I was going to school, and there's some, I sort of got interviewed by some Christians, and then, like, I became friends with, like, some other Christian people. I'm not Christian, yeah, like, y'all know I'm atheist, but, like, yeah, they brought me over. They're actually really super nice. Like, they sort of have these groups that just go around and try to interview you, and I'm cool with all that stuff, you know? And, like, yeah, they sort of have, like, this bar type stuff, and it's like, it's really fucking cool, dude. I never knew my college had all that stuff. And it's like, bro, he sort of, like, looks and sounds like one of these people who I'm, like, met in that fucking place. Dude, yeah, that's sort of... Why the fuck am I pointing this out, dude? I'm that fucking high, aren't I? Jesus.
All right, we're going to play a game in a second
Dude,
called What is Charlie
let's
Kirk
go. Feels good,
Pretending to
man.
be Mad at? But
Yeah, dude, imagine just being so fucking divisive and having the #1 platform. Five... It's like the #1, probably. I thought they were 10 million for some reason. Jesus. Like, here's a... Like, probably the biggest socialist platform there is. Like, that I know of, at least. And, like, dude, if you go to this person's Twitter, if you look at his titles for his video, like, yeah, it's sort of him pandering to his audience. Like, the average, like, any conservative, like, Republican who sees, his content, his titles, his Twitter feed, like, his tweets, they aren't gonna go and think, oh, well, maybe this guy has a point, actually. No, they're gonna be like, wow, what a virtue signaling fucking dipshit. Yeah, it's like the way you even frame your own arguments. It's like, you're not trying to change people's minds, dude. You're just trying to pander to your audience. And, like, then he's gonna, like, play the reasonable guy and be like, well, you know what? Like, y'all sort of giving Charlie Kirk an opportunity to virtue signal, because, like, y'all didn't really need to do this thing, or, like, the coffee. That's not gonna help climate change. Y'all are just... And it's like, yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But, like, then again, what are you doing on your Twitter, buddy?
first, let's take a look at this tweet that he put out there suggestively in a very Charlie Kirk way. It's a photo of him saying, I don't know, I've got coffee.
Yeah, I was really fucking like confused when I saw this video. I was like, he's seeing this fucking thing and he's assuming from that he's being passive aggressive or like, and I was like, dude, because it's not atypical for TYT to see a random photo like that with no context and to go like, oh well, he's racist for this or some shit. Like that's typically the type of argument they'll
And
make on
come and
TYT.
take it. So he tweeted
It's
something.
like, oh, the coffee's sort of browner than you, and are you saying you're pro-slavery? That's the typical TYT argument. I would
It seems
say. Like
moderately passive
it's fucking
aggressive.
pathetic. TYT is. I know. I saw Cenk debate Tucker Carlson, and like he's definitely a better debater than say Sam Setter by far. Like he just ignores good arguments, doesn't even bring them up. But he's definitely all right at debating, and like when you see him debate Tucker Carlson, for example, it's like, hey, this guy actually has the capacity to possibly change minds, and he used to be a conservative apparently. He used to be a Republican at least, and not a conservative, a Republican. It's like, do you think with the type of content you're pushing that actual Republicans are gonna look at that and go, oh well, actually, fuck, dude, that's sort of uh yeah, that like you don't get a cat to come towards you by stroking it the wrong way. That's probably not a great analogy, but like, yeah, if you if your content is literally just you trying to piss conservatives off, just like people say, oh yeah, Republicans, they sort of run on triggering the libs. That's not really a great campaign promise, right? That would probably be Cenk Uyghur's campaign promise if he ran for president. And I heard apparently he already has tried to, which is fucking hilarious. But
and a little twee. So let's play our favorite new game, Thing They're Pretending to Be Mad At Comedy Hour.
Jesus Christ.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Cenk.
Yeah, I love how these people will assume a fake point of view more than anybody. It's like, yeah, as if people just had a fake point of view, as if that was just a thing usually. No, people don't just have a fake point of view. Like if they say something, they probably believe it. Like you just assuming based on them being prescribed to the opposite party you are, so having different opinions. You're just assuming that they have a fake point of view. Like I cannot see any more toxic way to approach this. And again, none wrong with toxicity. I come from the Hypixel UHC world. Like it might be Minecraft, but oh boy, the kids aren't 8 on there. They're all 15 telling you to fucking kill yourself. So I get that's fun when people tell you that. That's actually really fucking funny when the whole chat is LLL kill yourself. It's like, yeah, that's pretty funny. But like that sort of doesn't align with his message. It's like he's sort of just being a like being a fucking what's it called, like, yeah, just trying to trigger people, being a fucking troll. And he's all about, oh well, we need to change people's minds. Like then he says this coffee thing, dude, what are you doing? You're not strategizing well, bro. Dude, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up because I tend to go on tangents a lot, especially when I'm fucking high and shit. Let me just watch this.
All right, so we got that. All right, so let's go take a look at this again. What is Charlie Kirk pretending to be mad at according to this image? Well, the answer is coffee. People should drink less coffee according to a new study to combat climate change, as a study said.
Yeah, I think
and
that's stupid.
because of that,
like if that were actually to make a change, I'm all for demanding that the middle class actually take something that they care about upon themselves before asking the elites above them to take care of it. Like Cenk Uyghur's all about like, yeah, pandering to the middle class, saying, oh yeah, the middle class is actually the like lowest tier victims, like not the people they ignore while going to the through McDonald's, like just like, no, not the homeless people, the prostitutes who definitely don't get paid minimum wage. 7.25 is too little. Well, I wonder if prostitutes get paid minimum wage at their illegal job of using their body in the way they want to use it. Yeah, it's like Cenk Uyghur tends to want to make every problem like the middle class the victim of every problem and never the ones responsible for fixing any problems. It's like, for example, the issue of homelessness. I agree, homelessness wasn't a choice, and maybe these people should get a second chance, or otherwise they'll never get to learn from it. And it's like, yeah, of course, like house the homeless, okay, that's if you're going to steal people's taxpayer money, at least not use it towards a giant scam called the U.S. military, which is literally just funding a hypothetical foreign threat, like the foreign threat of whoever might want to attack the world's biggest nuclear arsenal, whoever that may be. That's very hypothetical. Yeah, fund all the money. Just put all your money in there instead of actual concrete domestic threats such as not having healthcare, which are measurable. You can measure the amount of people who die from it. Like, yeah, I think that's pretty fucking retarded, and that sort of justifies people going through tax loopholes more than anything. But like, yeah, like as much as I would say, well, how about save lives instead of taking lives? Take free healthcare. It's like, yeah, the middle class can't take that upon their shoulders to get free healthcare, and it not having free healthcare, that sort of defeats the purpose of meritocracy to some extent, because like, yeah, if you happen to have a deadly disease like cancer, you just happen to be unfortunate one day, like you could just go bankrupt, go financially bankrupt overnight because American healthcare is just not affordable for the middle class or third class. And yeah, where's your meritocracy then? Like that's definitely a good point. Now again, I think it's people's like it's not your money. You don't get to choose what you do with it. It's taxpayers' monies. But like, yeah, if we're going to steal money from taxpayer, at least use it on that. But yeah, like the middle class could take it upon themselves to house homeless people. Most like the average middle class person, say me, like I had like there was an extra storage room in my house. Uh, if I owned this house, I would house a homeless person. Like there are there are probably a lot of average middle class people who have an extra room that they could use to house a homeless person. And like there are so many average middle class people who, and even like people in the lower middle class, like poor people who are on food stamps, well, instead of housing a homeless person, they'll just get a new child. If they can afford getting a new kid, and if we're going to put laws in place such as, I guess that's not come from the same party, but oh, let's not allow these people to abort their kids. Instead, just allow them to abort their kids and tell them to house a homeless person, since oh, well, you can afford a baby. Well, you made the choice of having a baby, unless you were raped. That was a choice. I mean, sex is sort of a choice. Abortion is just a confirmation choice. Did you really want that baby? Did you choose to have sex? Oh, that was an accident. All right. And again, people should get to have the right to make that choice. My body, my choice. I completely agree with that premise. But yeah, housing homeless people, the middle class could take it upon their shoulders, but they live in their own semi-elite entitled bubble, just like the first class who live in their elite bubble, and they aren't going to do that. And of course, the first class isn't going to do it. They're even more entitled, I heard. But yeah, like I'm definitely for the middle class taking it upon their shoulders to like do what they're always just barking at the elites to do instead of them, because they're the ones suffering. But yeah, this is just yeah, climate change is not something that's going to happen on a small basis. And by the way, I'm a libertarian, but I'm definitely in favor of telling yeah, you could definitely tell companies reduce your emissions, because guess what, global warming, like that affects everybody. And like there is no contract you can sign to say yeah, I don't want nor me nor my kids to be affected by global warming. You can't sign a contract that says that. So yeah, it's definitely fair, and it is consistent with libertarianism to ask for these companies to like to have standards on their emissions. They can't just emit the fuck out of themselves. It's ridiculous, of course. But dude, I should maybe try to like find my video and like it. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Wait.
Watch this. I can
Shut
show you
the
how to get
fuck
the
up.
sweetest deals online when
I
you...
don't know. I don't care. Whatever. Yeah, let me go ahead and watch this. I mean, like this. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
The lazy comedians on the right wing tweet things like, come and take my coffee. That's it. That's the whole story. These guys are idiots.
Okay, I actually think that there's a lot of people at fault here, and then there's a hero.
A lot of people at fault, and who the fuck? Why do you care so much? It is a fucking people at fault, dude. What in the actual fuck? You're talking about someone posting an image of themselves with coffee. Motherfuckers like, okay, boy, we gotta point the finger at someone who's. It's like, no, you fucking don't. Who the fuck cares? Like dude, there is someone we can blame for this, guys. Trust me. It's like, yeah, boy. Actually, we don't really want to hear it, dude. Like, you could just shut the fuck up, lmao. Anyway, who's the hero of the fucking? This fucking dude triggered me by posting a picture of coffee. Or yeah, we got someone to blame for this, okay? Someone's responsible. Don't worry, guys. This isn't natural.
So this study is a little bit of nonsense, okay? And the reason I say this, so I didn't read the whole study. I read a summary of the study. The study says, among other things, if you use the normal drip coffee instead of the little pods, that's worse for the environment because you waste more coffee that way and you use more electricity. The pods are actually better for the environment. I guess that's true. I believe them, right? They bothered to study it.
Yeah, I'm guessing maybe a reason they would do that is maybe to try and tell people, hey, if you're looking for ways to help fight climate change, but like you just don't really know how to do it, so like you'd be all in for going climate change activism, but like, yeah, you're sort of thinking of giving up because it's like, what the hell can you do? You're sort of like not a person in power. Like, just try to give them motivations to like keep going on the like. Just tell them, hey, yeah, there are things you can do if you're really into like. You really want to live as much as possible, like as much as like reasonably possible. Do whatever you can within reason for global warming to help fight it. Like, here are the minor details. Like, this won't fuck up your life. You could deal with it, but like if you really care, you could do that. I guess that's a premise. I guess you could say it's stupid, especially since like, I don't know, has this backlash, like, has this gone to bite them in the ass? Like, is this that mainstream? I guess if Charlie Kirk's talking about it, like, I just found out about that guy. Like, yeah, I guess maybe it's become mainstream, but like, I don't know, dude.
But like, we're talking about like 0.001%. That's not how you're gonna fix climate change.
Yeah, I don't think they were arguing that's how you're gonna fix climate change. But
what you're gonna do instead is you're gonna really stress people out. I'm like, oh, am I using the right coffee? Oh my God, maybe I shouldn't.
Dude, I think the average person understands that that's also, I think the average person also understands, especially if they aren't such fucking conspiracy theorists that they think climate change isn't real. Like, yeah, they probably understand, yeah, this isn't a crisis. If this was what global warming, like, this was the cutting edge thing, this was the, like, way, we're either gonna fix it or we're not. It depends on our coffee, dude. The stakes are on us. Yeah, everyone understands that it would be talked about a lot more. And, everyone would be making sure to tell you about it. Like, everyone gets that,
have the coffee. No, just calm down, okay? So
dude, you should take that advice with your
This is
Twitter.
not the way we're going to combat climate change is through massive action, okay? So we need the governments to take action about carbon in the air that could actually make a dent. You using pods instead of like brewing the coffee, I got news for you. I don't care what the study says. It's never going to make a difference. We're not going to 0.01% our way out of climate change. Okay, and
yeah, he sounds like someone who would probably criticize the type of shit that he writes on his Twitter. Oh, sure, you might be right, but who the hell is going to look at that and say, Oh, well, I disagreed until you fucking said it that way. Now I'm like, yeah, like, unless they, what's the word, masochistic or whatever, unless they literally hate themselves and, like, want to, like, it's like, no.
Instead, I think,
They're gonna be repulsed by that, and they're gonna be turned off
and the
by
reason
it.
why I'm against the study is because, not because I'm like, oh no, I don't believe your facts, but because it's
Yeah, I love how, he will give this, well, I think it's reasonable. I also believe their facts. Yeah, he'll give the benefit of the doubt to left-wingers, like, but yeah, I don't even need to look at your thing. I just don't care. Why am I even gonna bother looking at it? Like, I'll believe you. But, like, this is irrelevant. Why can't he give that respect of, hey, I believe you, to people like Tucker Carlson when they say literally anything? He just immediately goes off of the assumption he's lying. Just, like, on anything for no reason. He doesn't even need a reason to think he's lying. Oh, he must be lying because he's the one saying it. Yeah, buddy, the guy seems very inconsistent with a lot of his things.
counterproductive. Then people look at it and go, I like coffee. Well, what the hell, man? I'm not fighting climate change if I were to give up my coffee.
Yeah, again, dude, your Twitter feed.
And then you were just massively counterproductive. It goes up in there in the counterproductive Hall of Fame next to paper straws. Like, nothing has made people.
Yeah, dude, I've never heard of that shit. I've never seen them. I get, yeah, that sounds like cancer.
Fighting climate change more than paper straws. You're like, after the third sip, it's collapsed in on itself. And you can't get it out anymore.
Yeah, that sounds like fucking AIDS. I've never seen any of that type of shit. That sounds like garbage, but did people ever... Like, thing is, I'm pretty sure that, like, after you're done using, yeah, you just have to reuse, like, you can't reuse that. You could reuse plastic straws probably more than you could use paper.
Guys, you're freaking crazy.
I remember one of our catchphrases when I worked at Al Gore's Current TV was, my corn spoon is melting. We had...
What's the joke? Like, dude, that sounds like you're just a, like, big fucking nerd guy who... Bro, you even look like you work at Best Buy, but, like, you're just making the jokes in the back room, and why am I involved in
these
this?
corn spoons? We're like, what is these spoons? They look plastic, but someone's like, it's corn, so I can't use it in soup.
I want to fucking kill myself,
It just melts. It's like you're dipping it in acid.
No, don't.
It's a hill to die on kind of thing, but it's also like, for me, the specific agony that I encounter with something like this is reading the summaries. Like, look at graphic 3. They said preparing coffee was...
Graphic, oh my god. Bro, let me make sure my hair doesn't look like cancer now. Yeah, I guess it sort of does. Do you think that looks like cancer? Yeah, I think that sort of looks like cancer. Yeah, it's this thing right here. Yeah, dude, I think that looks fucking epic. Yeah, I just have this big ass thing right here. Yeah, nah, dude, hell yeah, dude. I'm gonna look like that for my stream. Dude, I really need to get a haircut. Either way, let me just keep looking at this.
Just quote, the tip of the iceberg.
Dude, like, I'm sorta... Bro, I tend to sit more like that. Okay, yeah, people could still see my epic thing on my head. Okay, great.
Like, even the study is like, why are we doing this?
Dude, I feel like it just fell.
And like, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff. This is just another thing we can do to remind you that there's ways you can improve, you can fight climate change, right?
I don't even remember hearing him mention that. Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder how he's going to debunk that.
Right. Now, as Jenk said, there's all these things that they kind of try to trick you into thinking, which is like, the folks who are, advocating for climate responsibility are just like your parents telling you to clean your room and making you feel like you have to give up everything you love. That's...
Give up it. Dude, isn't that what you're trying to ask of corporations? Like, give up everything you love. Imagine if you were forced to drink out of paper straws. I don't even know, really. Does that help the environment compared to fucking plastic straws? But like, give up everything you love. Like, preparing your coffee in a different way? Is that giving up everything you love? Like, plastic straws, that what are you giving up that you love here? Like, you love using better straws that much more? Like, yeah, I love how you're doing this bad framing. You often accuse conservatives of doing that. And you're often right, except that you often do it within your fucking video where you accuse other people of doing it, which is pretty hilarious.
Not the case. A lot of people like, just, I'm sorry I have to tell you this.
Yeah, like the middle class. Why are we asking anything of these entitled freaks? It's like, no, they're entitled. They should stay entitled. We shouldn't ask anything of them ever. We shouldn't hold the middle class to any personal responsibility. We shouldn't try to put them in that mindset. Hey, yeah, if you're going to ask of us to do things for you, if you're going to ask for the government to do things for you, maybe you should have some personal responsibility too. Like, you're going to ask for, like, these first classes, you're going to ask for money to be stolen from them and given to you. Yeah, you damn well better have some fucking responsibilities yourself. If you're going to ask for the first class to have all these responsibilities put onto them to help you, yeah, you damn better have some responsibilities to offer back to them. Otherwise, you're just spitting in their face saying, hey, well, give me literally the money that would make me, like, just make me rich, like, you literally build my wealth. But on top of that, don't ask me for any responsibility. I want that all put on your shoulders, first class. Imagine if the third class, say the homeless people, started doing that. Imagine if when you were sort of nice and you gave a homeless $1, as a lot of middle class people do when they give a homeless person anything, which is rare. It's usually not $5, which they could afford. Imagine if when you give a homeless person $1, instead of thanking you, they just started bitching at you that you need to give them more because, well, clearly that $1 isn't their fair fucking share. The first class pays a lot more in taxes towards you than you give to homeless people. And homeless people don't really, as far as I know, get a lot in taxes. Look at the anti-homeless infrastructure we have in place. It costs more than it would to house homeless people. That's how much we seem to hate homeless people. But they don't seem to complain a lot. So, yeah, I say, unless we're gonna put the first class first and allow them to keep their property, just go to the third class, okay? The middle class, they seem really fucking entitled to their shit. At least the Democrats, like the socialists in the middle class, they're very fucking entitled. And yeah, they want all of that shit, but no personal responsibility. Okay, well, if you're going to demand that, like, these taxes be stolen from people wealthier than you and redistributed back to you, you want them to take that personal responsibility of making, like, raising your standard of living at their detriment. You damn well better have some personal responsibility. Yeah, they should have some personal responsibility over climate change, especially since, like, big corporations, that's really at the level at which we're going to fix climate change. But yeah, it's very fair for these people to say, hey, while I'm doing that and I'm also like raising your fucking standard of living, bitch, how about you take some responsibility? Because if you're just gonna ask us to take responsibility for just fucking taking care of you, but then you're just gonna be that entitled person who's like, well, I'm middle class, I'm the victim anyway, what the fuck are you gonna ask of me, bro? It's like, no, then we're not gonna give you our fucking taxpayer money and fucking food stamps and shit if you're just gonna be like, oh, well, I'm the entitled middle class. Now, like, the majority of these people are not on food stamps, they're just on, like, fucking whatever. Dude, I'm so fucking high. I don't know why I said food stamps. That's, like, a very small minority of the middle class, actually. Like, yeah, that's, fuck, dude, I'm just sort of retarded, but either way.
But otherwise you wouldn't know that you were
Yeah, I meant the people who are asking to get paid fucking, like, $20 minimum wage. The majority of them, I'm guessing, are
consuming a lot. But the other thing they do is, like, there's a bunch of reports on this on, like, recycling, where they're like, oh, it was revealed.
Yeah, so you're just now just assuming that people who are in favor of taking personal responsibility for climate change, even though it might not be that effective, not only do they know that this isn't the case, they know that you're right and they're wrong. They're just saying that because, well, fake point of view again. Like, dude, you're the king of just assuming fake points of view, just assuming everybody has bad intentions. They're just all lying if what they're saying isn't entirely true. Okay, buddy. Well, most of the things you say aren't entirely true. Thank you, good. At least I don't know this guy. He seems like some fucking random guy they picked up from Best Buy.
That the whole campaign, by and large, for you to recycle at your house, really, it's not everything you think it is, blah, blah, blah. Usually there's ways you can make changes at like the higher level of like major corporations that are manufacturing things and acquiring materials where they can take steps that will offset climate change a lot more than an individual's usage. But I think it's more like veganism. It's like if someone's over your shoulder telling you that you're destroying the world.
I do not remember seeing this. I don't think I watched this whole thing. I definitely didn't watch this whole thing. What is this about vegans? So, I don't know, are you for or against contributing to an animal holocaust? What's your position on that?
It's just like anything really. If you're trying to advocate for someone to make a positive change, you have to take into consideration your own messaging to make it successful.
Who's gonna stop the animal holocaust, dude? Is it corporations at that? Are they gonna abolish their own slaughterhouses when they're already psychopaths enough to do that, and also do that at Americans' health if they can't even empathize with the animals? At least empathize with the Americans, bro. Well, it's at the detriment of their health. Heart disease and cancer are the top leading cause of death by far. No, it's not police brutality, it's heart disease. Yeah, and what does it come from? Cholesterol and saturated fats. Well, where do you find those? So, in every front, that meat and dairy industries are bad. They are exploitative. They are murderous. They are genocidal. And we don't need that type of shit for our diets. In fact, we're better off health-wise without it. And do you think abolishing animal agriculture, these industries will just take that upon themselves? Or do you think we need more people deciding? If, say, the middle class, the bulk of the country, decided to just say, hey, since we're all for, like, since we're being oppressed so much and we're constantly talking about that, like, we want to stop being oppressed, but we also don't want to be oppressing anyone else. Let's not pay a hitman to go murder somebody and say, well, it wasn't me, it was a hitman. Yeah, let's not pay for that stuff that's eventually going to give me heart disease. It's also more expensive than plant-based diets. Meat costs a lot. So does dairy, I'm pretty sure. It's like, so that would actually help the middle class switching to a plant-based diet. It would also make them need less healthcare, need less to go ahead and steal money and be a parasite to the first class while continuing to bitch at them that they aren't giving them enough. It's like, yeah, from a parasite position, pretty hard to say that while you're literally holding a fucking, like, dead corpse in your hand. It's like, bro, yeah, I think you should probably advocate for the middle class take care of the animal holocaust. That's probably what you should do if you want the animal holocaust to end.
Well, because otherwise you're just intentionally giving them a message they don't want to hear.
Yeah, and so, but let me move on to stage 2 here. So all of this is true, but do you have to get like really mad at the study and then say, oh yeah, come and take my coffee?
Isn't that sort of what you just did, more or less? You were like, you literally assumed like that, like all these people, more or less, they're sort of just bogus fake point of view. Isn't that sort of what I'm sort of high, dude? Like, is that what you said? Is that a bro fist in the middle of his fucking coffee mug? Fuck yeah.
And it
dude.
has way too much milk in it, right? No, you don't have to do that. Okay.
Grabbing 4 is a close-up on the coffee itself. It is like our dear friend, like this is my favorite part about it. It's like, all right, I'll have my coffee cup, but do we have this coffee cup? You can't see the coffee. People aren't gonna know that I drink like puke foam unless I have a see-through coffee cup, which we all know are only owned by serial killers and dog.
What the fuck? It would have made sense if he said rich people, but now he's just sort of bullshitting. And it's like, to be fair, that's sort of his entire thing. Yeah, I guess like milk is not as much of an issue in my opinion. Like some people say, oh well, it's an exploitation. I mean, I don't fucking drink milk. I think it's sort of gay, but like, I mean, I don't know. It's always sort of made me throw up when I drink it. If it has chocolate in it, it doesn't make me throw up. Either way, I don't drink all that. But like, yeah, I think in general, if we're gonna give babies that aren't even born yet the right to life, maybe we should give animals that are definitely more conscious, more self-aware, more sentient and smarter than these not even yet really alive babies. Yeah, maybe we should at least give them the right to life, the right to not be tortured in these industries. Maybe we should give them the right not to be treated with at least a basic humanitarian standards. Of course, these animals are inferior. They shouldn't have the right to, say, vote or some stuff. But they should get the basic right to not be slaughtered and tortured literally at like the people who eat them's fucking health at the expense of their health. Like, yeah, maybe we would be healthier actually if we advocated for that.
You know, molesters.
So we've concluded.
Molesters. That's the last thing. Oh, people. I love how he thinks that's so funny. Dude, your sense of humor is fucking garbage, and that's me saying that to you. Like, holy
The story
shit.
that Charlie Kirk's a dog molester. Okay, we're kidding, just in case. But by the way, though, that's not coffee. You want to see coffee?
Dude, if you're gonna make a bad joke, at least don't say we're kidding. That just like now you're just trying to say, oh, dude, guys, don't worry. You made a bad joke. Try to move on from it. We get you're kidding, okay? We get you're kidding. Like, then you're just adding another layer of cringe to your bad joke. Fucking why? Why are you doing that?
This is coffee. Okay, so super old school reference to, what is it? The guy with the
This
knife.
is something come from someone who's drinking LaCroix that his mother bought for him. I'm calling you cringe. Like, that should say
Anyways,
something.
That's a knife. Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee, that's it. Okay, see, that's too strong coffee, okay? That is some kick-ass coffee right there and does not harm the environment at all. Not true. TooStrongCoffee.com/TYT, okay? That's our brand. That's badass. And you'll have to murder us to get it out of our cold dead heads.
Okay, dude, this is really gay. I'm gonna go watch something else. Okay, so I probably am not actually having new real views here. Okay, let me look
More
at
expensive than ever, but I just discovered a money-saving alternative. Are you still using Prime?
Just one day after he was reinstated to Twitter, white supremacists.
Yeah, that sounds fucking hilarious. He was kicked off Twitter one day after being reinstated.
Holocaust.
Who the fuck is this fucking dude? Dude, there are so many random people on TYT, and I don't know any of them. And all of them is sort of just assholes.
Denier Nick Fuentes has been suspended from the platform once more. What did Fuentes do to get booted off Twitter again?
Bro, does he have a lisp? Or like, dude, he sounds even more retarded than me when he speaks. That's fucking hilarious.
Hannah Geis, a senior researcher with the Southern Poverty Law Center, wrote that overnight Fuentes hosted a Twitter space where he praised both Hitler and domestic terrorist Ted Kaczynski
Okay, dude, we don't
society
care about what you
has
have to say. Let's
praised Hitler. Take a look at this
Cenk
compilation.
Uyghur's actually in this. I bet.
I believe that organized Jewry is extremely influential in the United States. We need to go back to burning women alive more. You know, these left-wing people...
Burning the... Did he say that? Let's fucking go. Nick is fucking hilarious.
I believe that...
I love how he's just so fucking retarded and everybody on the left is always gonna bring him up. Like, no, he's just funny, okay? This is definitely not the official right-wing position, dude, just so you know. I could probably find some left-wing people who are, like, in favor of genocide, too. They just probably wouldn't be as popular. You know what? Sfarage, he's sort of a... You could say he's a left-wing version. He holds more, like, Democrat-type beliefs. He has, like, 50,000 subs on YouTube, dude. Like, he thinks we should rape babies and then drink their blood. Where's the outrage over there? Yes, Farage also, got, what's it called? Yeah, like, he got put in a mental facility, basically, which I disagree with those. But, like, yeah, he was sort of starving himself, and people thought he was anorexic, because, like, he started doing this thing he calls sun gazing. He was like, dude, wait, I just thought if plants could do that, they could just stare at the sun to get the energy, and they don't have to eat. Like, I'm just gonna stop eating and look at the sun. And he was stupid enough to think, oh, well, now I don't have to eat anymore. I'll just look at the sun all day. And, like, he started getting skinny, and they, like, brought him to the ambulance, and over there, he was, like, mad at the nurses for force-feeding him, so he tried to eat them. And, like, yeah, Sfarage advocates for cannibalism. He's left-wing. And Nick Fuentes advocates for killing, I'm pretty sure he also said at some point, yeah, we should burn witches to the stake. It's like, this guy's about as, serious as Farage, like the cannibal guy. It's like, you're literally taking him as status quo for the right. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? No, people on the right probably just think he's funny because he is. That's probably all there is to him.
Organized Jewry is extremely influential in the United States. We need to go back to burning women alive more.
Burning women alive more. Yeah, the average person over here, they want to burn women more because they hate women. Because most Americans, especially most conservatives, oh yeah, they're super gay like Nick Flint. Why would it matter if you're conservative or Democrat in terms of you being gay? I'm just fucking stupid. Yeah, most people in general are just gay and hate women. Like, that represents the average conservative for you. Like, on point, Cenk Uyghur. No, there was no weed in it. Bro, where the fuck did I put my weed thing? I'd like, oh, here it is, boys. I found it. Right. Yo, let me get that, and that. That's some pretty good shit. I bet. I found my weed. Dude, basically, I'm surprised I haven't been made fun of that. Yeah, like, bro, I don't know how to roll. Dude, I'll just get some people to, like, buy me, like, you know, that stuff. Normally it has nicotine in it, but it's, like, I don't know, it's the wooden thing, so I say it doesn't melt like the plastic one. Like, you get your friends to buy you, like, a few of those. I got that one again. It's, like, bro, you just ask your friends to buy you those, and, like, you take the, like, tobacco out of it, and you just put weed. And it smokes, bro. You don't even need to learn how to roll. That's sort of how I do my shit. In case y'all kid, like, then I just use that. It's not really legal over here, but I don't really give a shit.
You know, these left-wing people...
Because I'm a Maverick XD or whatever the fuck you
Well,
call
in their
it.
heart of hearts, they know they're wrong because, like, they know that black people are violent. Hitler was a German statesman. You know, enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares?
German statesman. What the fuck is a German statesman? I need to look at that. Wait. Dude, fucking hell. Dude, I don't care. I just don't care enough for this.
Oh, and to drink out of a different water fountain. Big deal. Don't.
It's like, all of that, obviously, I and everybody disagree with it, but yeah, it shouldn't be banned off of Twitter. I don't think they should ban him. I think they should let him say what he wants. Yeah, if Elon Musk is really pro-free speech, he should allow this. Like, this is just free speech. This is as free speech as it gets. It's just something that most people really, really disagree with, and someone's saying it because he believes that. Or not. Like, it doesn't matter. He has the right to say that. Like, if he wants to say all that, he should have the right to.
Tell me they're entitled to their religion. If their religion involves my Lord in hell, then they can get out of America. Oh, I'm anti-Semitic?
What? Your religion actually is the only one that involves your God and your hell, because other religions have their own God and their own hell. So, like, are you demanding that yourself and all other Christians be deported from America? I mean, from the United States. Like, is that what the fuck does that even mean? Like, yeah, the average Republican just wants to be kicked, just wants all Christians to be kicked out of the United States. I doubt that's what he's saying, but that's literally what he just said, whether that was what he meant to say or not. So, yeah, I'm guessing, yeah, the average American praises someone who thinks all Christians should be deported. Okay, buddy.
Yeah, I on your Talmud. You think I'm anti-Semitic? You think I care what Antichrist believes? Send the military into these black neighborhoods.
Wait, Jews have your fucking... Yeah, like, you need to get out of the country. Yeah, I think that's fucking retarded.
Let's make the streets safe. They'll complain about it. It doesn't matter. Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really cool.
Would you be interested in collecting 5-figure paychecks for a few hours of work, helping me in your spare time from home?
Yeah, like, imagine trying to use what Nick Fuentes says here as an argument against any conservative, as if any conservative agreed with that. Like, it's sort of pathetic.
It's also really cool, says this moron who can't even fit into a suit he chose for himself. Way too big and way too idiotic for even words. After a suspension, Fuentes...
That's legit the, like, counter-argument he's gonna after all that. Like, something that couldn't be easier to refute, that's your counter-argument.
told his followers to ask nicely for his...
Your suit looks too big. Does it? I mean, I don't even really think
count back.
To be honest.
While he may be gone from Twitter, Elon Musk has unbanned many horrible right-wingers who are still on the platform, including far-right anti-Semitic quote-unquote reporter Pat.
Far-right anti-Semitic. Yeah, I doubt if you're the one calling people that it's actually true. Especially since you're on TYT. Like, TYT tends to legit just slander anybody who's right-wing is especially racist. Like, racist and authoritarian. That's usually, like, yeah, just racist, fascist. That's usually the two lines that they'll go by. So, yeah, if TYT calls someone a racist, probably anti-Semitic, it sort of goes with racist. Like, yeah, if they call people that, that's probably, like, they're probably bullshitting. Same thing if they call somebody a homophobe, they were probably just a transphobe, and they were probably just bullshitting too. It's sort of like how they'll call nationalists racist, and they'll just call a lot of people who are just Republicans, they'll just call them fascists. Just try to bring an exaggerated version. Like, yeah, that's sort of the same thing as virtue signalers just calling all socialists communists. It's the same fucking thing, buddy. Like,
Patrick Howley, Stop the Steal organizer Ali Alexander, QAnon conspiracy theorist Liz Kroc, and far-right activist Sam Hyde, neo-Nazi founder...
Dude, I love how this guy, like, I don't want to assume he's retarded because he has a lisp. I want to assume he's retarded because, like, he just sounds like the type of person who'd be retarded. Like, dude, he's just like fucking coming as hard as he can, just like fucking. So, like, just spewing these names of these people he hates. Like, dude, he's so fucking mad at them. It's like, this person's a racist, this person's a racist. Dude, why the fuck do you know that many people on the opposite? I don't know that many people in my own fuck. Yeah, I know Tucker Carlson, and I know Donald Trump, and I know Ben Shapiro. Like, I recently just, like, learned about Charlie Kirk. It's not like I watch him. Like, why do you watch so many people from your opposing party when you don't even give them any credit? Like, I'll watch people like the Humanist Report or Secular Talk because I give them a lot of credit. The Rational National, like I'll give them credit. It's a different story for you, like TYT and Sam Setter. I don't give them a lot of credit, especially TYT. But like yeah, dude, you're watching all these people who you don't give any credit to. Like, the fuck are you doing with your life? Why do you watch them? Like,
The
you
Daily
don't like
Stormer,
them.
Andrew Anglin, white nationalist Richard Spencer, and of course,
Richard Spencer is on. Yeah, I heard apparently he's a. I don't know anything about that guy.
Donald Trump. Last week,
Donald Trump
tweeted this. Yes, people on the right should see more left-wing.
That's fucking hilarious. I remember, didn't everybody like start yelling at Donald Trump that he just loved the KKK after he literally condemned the KKK? Like, he put out a fucking speech saying, yeah, I condemn the KKK. And then every left-wing person was just ignoring it, pretending, dude, Trump loves the KKK, dude. It's like, yeah, what people say literally mean nothing. And it's okay, fair with Trump, he lies a lot. But it's like, yeah, any right-wing person, just in general, like, that sorta just, like, what's it called? That embodies, like, how the left wing tends to react towards the right wing. Like, somebody literally condemning the KKK and the left just reacting to that with, oh, well, they probably meant to endorse the KKK. That's probably what they actually meant to do. I say it's pathetic.
People on the left should see more right-wing stuff. But you can just block it if you want to stay in an echo chamber. Apparently,
Right, should say.
That's why he thinks
I think
that
that's
right-wing radicals deserve their accounts back, so you can see their stuff.
Yeah, you should be allowed to see their stuff. They should be allowed to post their stuff. You're a fucking fascist if you don't believe in that. You're against free speech. And I'm only bringing that up because you constantly call left-wing people fascists. I mean right-wing people. You constantly call them fucking fascist. Well, this is fascist. Now, I would argue, like, yeah, it's a real big fucking ad hominem to try to call people fascist because they'd be in favor of, like, say, one policy which would lean more fascist than democratic. Some people can have, like, for example, look at America not conducting the popular vote. The popular vote isn't what decides an election, so fundamentally, the people do not have any voice in who actually wins an election. You can have a faithless senator. That's actually legal. So yeah, the people's vote actually doesn't have anything to do with, like, the people's vote, it is not taken into account when deciding which people win a presidential election. That's how it happens in the United States. You can say, oh, well, the Electoral College, that's clearly fascist, that's by definition anti-democratic. You're deciding that an oligarchy is, like, a little group of people who just promised to represent people. They gave their campaign promise as if those are usually hold. Yeah, you'll tell these people to represent the United States as a whole. yeah, like you could say that is fascist. Is the United States actually not a democracy? Is it pretty much like Nazi Germany for that reason? Like, yeah, you could be against the popular vote and in favor of an electoral college. You're not a fascist. And same thing with that. I think that is definitely a fascist idea that you have. You are for censoring, say, white supremacists because you disagree with them so much that, well, that shouldn't be allowed. It's sort of like people who are trying to ban critical race theory because it offends them so much that some people are defaming America to be racist when, like, unfortunately they can only extend their human empathy to a nationwide level by saying, oh, well, these people share my values. And I would argue everybody in every country mostly shares these values. Most humans are good people, therefore most Americans are good people, and good people are usually not hateful. And defaming an entire group, all Americans, is just, yeah, American is generally speaking, just generally speaking, a racist country. Like, it's generally speaking hateful. That is how we describe Americans, generally speaking, okay? Yeah, when Republicans ban books that would say that type of stuff from being taught in schools, yeah, like, you'll be straight on board to call them fascists. But yeah, when you call for people to be censored because you are offended by what it says, sort of like people trying to ban like gay, sort of like they don't say gay laws pretty much, except that it's sort of they're the assholes instead of you being the asshole, I guess. Like dude, where's fascism now? By the way, let me make sure I'm still live and people can do live streaming. It's over on here. The left wing tends to react towards the right wing. Like, somebody. Bro, does my hair look really fucked again? No, it actually looks sort of normal. Yeah, it's pretty good. Anyway, let me finish watching this.
Like, both sides of this are equal. Like, both sides of Hitler and not approving of Hitler are the same, and we should all be exposed to it equally and just block it if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. What he is saying, like, he's explicitly saying, for this authoritarian policy. Oh yeah, like, blocking, like, literally censoring people, removing people's free speech rights if their actual, like, genuine opinion is, I love Hitler. Yeah, we shouldn't, like, is this guy actually retarded? Because for someone who loves to call the right wing a fascist, generally speaking, that's what the left wing loves to do. This is explicitly fascist. You're in favor of censoring people because you are just that offended by the stupidity of what they have to say. So, you're saying, oh, well, it's not the same. Yeah, morally speaking, but on a free speech perspective, yeah, should we ban these people from having the right to say stuff? Should we make sure people don't get a chance to see it? Should we ban people from being allowed to see that type of stuff because you disagree with it so much? Are you for book banning? Like
it. This guy's supposed to put us on
Like,
Mars.
should we ban Mein Kampf? It's like, again, free fucking speech, bitch. Learn what it is.
Doubtful.
That's why I'm not a Democrat.
Yeah, he might.
That's another reason.
Already be there. So I don't know what Elon Musk thought we meant. So we would argue, we meaning.
Yeah, I would argue that just like someone I think should have the right to call for someone who genuinely thinks, oh, all police officers are just horrible people. Like, next time you see a police officer, go ahead and tell them to fucking kill themselves or something. Like, some extremely racist Black Lives Matter supporter saying that type of stuff. Black Lives Matter should have the right to keep existing and be on Twitter. Yeah, today's KKK, Black Lives Matter, they should have the right to stay on Twitter despite the fact that they are openly racist. Black Lives Matter is openly racist. Are you for banning them off Twitter? Because, oh no, bro, that isn't cool, bro. Are you for banning these fucking people?
Generally speaking, rational people, not just the left. Hey, there's some speech that's horrific, and
yeah, dude. Alright, well, any thing is, who gets to choose? You can label any speech as horrific. People, that's sort of the right-wing thing with, transgender, gender expression. They'll say, this is horrific, you're grooming our kids, dude. This is, okay, so should we ban gender expression? Because, clearly some people were brainwashed into thinking that's just so, it's, yeah, their free speech is so bad that it's, like, they're trying to, like, they're trying to molest our kids with that. Well, that is an opinion that's proven to have some success. Some people probably have the same stance that you do on Nazis, except on that. So how do you know who's correct? Because everybody has a different point of view, and just assuming that you're the only right point of view and everyone who disagrees with you, that's a fake point of view. That doesn't really work, alright, buddy? So some speech is so horrific that it should be banned. Fucking amazing that this guy probably accuses every right-winger of being a fascist.
And maybe doesn't deserve to be on your platform. Now,
yeah, maybe you should platform them if you literally advocated for being, like, you literally advocated yourself as being the liberator of free speech. Yeah, you should have these people, because otherwise you're going against your own premise of buying the platform. Like, why did Tucker Carlson agree? Like, this guy's just so stupid, and St. Krieger did a good job actually debating Tucker Carlson. But, like, he's actually really fucking stupid. Like, what the fuck is this shit?
Government says that anybody can say it, right? But they don't have to say it.
I love how this guy will call Tucker Carlson a guy who's very smart. Actually, no, he calls Tucker Carlson smart, and yeah, Tucker Carlson is a lot fucking smarter than you, that's for sure. No, yeah, he's like the only person on the left wing who actually has that respect for Tucker and not call him stupid. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, Tucker is very smart, not in the way that he thinks he is. He's not deceitful or anything. But yeah, he is way fucking smarter than you, dude. That's
on your platform.
One thing we could say.
And certainly advertisers thought, I don't want him saying it on this platform if I'm going to advertise on there. So Nick Fuentes can say it in his room, he can say it on his own website, etc., about how much he loves it.
That's so pathetic. Like, yeah, you don't want to pander to a certain audience because you don't... Dude, it's just more advertising for you. Like, you do realize I don't know, if I run a business and I'm selling some fucking weed, right? And it's like, if white supremacists buy my weed, I'm still getting paid more. So business speaking, that's only going to help me. I don't even have to give it to them directly because, like, I'm the employer, dude. Like,
Hitler, but if you put that stuff on Twitter, it's toxic, right? And it does influence people.
Yeah, Twitter can be toxic. If you don't want to be on Twitter because you're a little crybaby, like, dipshit, how about go back to the young... You know what I was doing when I was too young to see that the internet toxicity? Well, I was outside digging with a spoon, trying to reach Australia, because I was like, you know what, if I keep digging, I'll find the other side. Yeah, people who think like you, that's what they should be doing. They should be doing fucking that. They should be digging with a spoon in their backyard, because clearly they're too young to be on Twitter.
Unfortunately, that stuff does spread, right?
No,
and Elon Musk.
Yeah, I'm sure if someone says kill all the Jews and it's allowed to be on Twitter, Yeah, it's not going to go mainstream and everybody all of a sudden is going to be like, oh my god, this guy said that, and it's like, he's so right. No, people don't believe that, so it's not because you allow Nick Fuentes on Twitter that everyone's going to start hating the Jews because, oh, some random guy hates the Jews? Oh my god, fuck, does that mean I should hate the Jews? Like, do you think everybody is as stupid as you?
But no way, man, I'm a free speech absolutist. And these are right-wingers, they're just as equal
yeah, I know, right? You're
to the left wing, man. They got really good points.
That's
I'm
amazing.
going to spread it out to you guys. And then so
it's like, I wouldn't be calling this guy a fascist if, like, the left-wing status quo wasn't, right-wingers, when they ban a critical race theory, oh yeah, these people are fascists. Alright, buddy, well,
he brings Nick Fuentes.
Here you go. We have him admitting that he's a fascist on camera. I think, like, I don't think he's a fascist for that. I think he's just in favor of one fascist thing, and you can be in favor, like, fashion. That's a big fucking spectrum. You can be in favor of one fascist type policy, one, like, fascist orienting decision, but in favor of democracy overall, and I think that's the thing with him, but yeah, maybe don't call people fascists for banning critical race theory if you have fascist positions yourself.
Who's already said that Hitler was really cool, back on the platform, and the first thing he does is a video about how cool Hitler is. And then they ban him again.
I forgot this was about Nick.
Well, what did you think he was going to say?
I think that's stupid. They shouldn't have banned him, no matter what he said, unless he incited violence towards black people by defaming them.
You think he had, like, all of a sudden he was going to turn around and be... And did you think we were complaining because we didn't like his favorite color? No, I'm a talk show host. I want...
No one's saying that that's why... Yeah, everyone knows that's why you hated him, because he's racist. And it's like, that's not the argument anyone's saying, that you just hate Nick Fuentes because of these other things. No, everyone gets Nick Fuentes is explicitly racist. That's the easiest bar to hit. That's the one person who you will actually call racist who actually also is racist. No one's gonna attack you for that one. We're just in favor of free speech, whether or not we agree with that speech. We're just consistent, and you're not. That's the only difference between you and us.
Tons of latitude for what you can say. But there's a place where you draw the line. Like, hey, say...
Okay, well, where do you choose to draw the line? I'm sure if you ask everybody that question, they will have a line drawn in some other place. So, maybe we shouldn't draw a line. Maybe the only line should be at just clear violations of other laws, such as, like, yeah, lying, yelling fire in an open crowd, that type of shit, like in a movie theater or something. Like, that is very different from saying racist stuff. Oh, well, I hate black people. So should you be allowed to say that? You should be allowed to be wrong. St. Kruger, you should have the right to keep existing and to keep being platformed, okay? I think you should have every right for that. I think you should have the right to keep spreading your... Oh my god, this looks so fucking AIDS. What the fuck?
Saying, go hurt this one person. That's a call to violence.
Imagine
Of course you gotta ban that.
Like, being such a degenerate that you would want to post that type of gay shit.
There's no free speech absolutist that says, oh
Jesus
yeah,
Christ,
this is Bob,
so
this is his address, go kill him. No, that's not free speech.
Is Nick Fuentes doing that, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, the famous thing the Supreme Court always says, that people always refer to from the Supreme Court is, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. But by the way, these days, you can yell fire on Twitter all day long, nobody gonna...
Yeah, it's Twitter, dude. It's a very different context. People can choose to block you, and people know on Twitter, like, a lot of people just bullshitting. Like, this isn't even new with Elon Musk. I remember Twitter, this was sort of always the thing. Maybe it became worse, but I don't know, most people don't tend to reply to me because I'm not that big on Twitter. Like, I literally follow more people than people who follow me. I have, like, 31 followers, and most of them are fucking dead. They aren't even active on Twitter. Like, yeah, you're complaining about Twitter being bad, dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's supposed to be a cancer. In fact, it's one of the best cancers on Earth. If you go on the Hypixel forums, do you think the Hypixel forums should be abolished? I think they're great, dude. I want to keep having more of that stuff.
Okay? And so the right wing would think like, why not? I got a right to yell fire, and if people get trampled, that's their goddamn problem. Well, I got freedom to say fire, right?
Dude.
I mean, look.
So they're just gonna keep. I'm not gonna fucking watch all that. I put Tucker Carlson in my thumbnail. Let's not in my thumbnail, in my title. Yeah, I not banned from TV. I definitely think like he should definitely apologize for that, because yeah, Boston's hospital does not provide anything other than like, yeah, counseling. Now I just read, but like, yeah, they do not provide like actual surgery procedures, like any of that stuff to minors. So to invade Canada. That's not actually what he said. He was more saying, yeah, if we're going to like, if we're going to protect Ukraine's sovereignty, like, clearly, he thinks Trudeau is a dictator, and he's like, yeah, and I heard apparently there were truckers, that is free speech, they were protesting. I remember when Donald Trump, like, Black Lives Matter, they were actually being violent, and they were rioting, and Trump, proposed, yeah, we're gonna stop that. We might bring the army in here if y'all don't stop rioting. And everyone called him a fascist racist. To be fair, Trudeau, I heard, when the truckers, they were just sort of blocking everything by just protesting because they were mad. They were mad, they didn't agree with their leadership, and they protested. Like, they were just flooding the roads with trucks. That is peaceful. And yeah, that's definitely annoying for everyone who wants to travel on the road. But by their standards, like, yeah, I think if you're gonna protest, go on the fucking sidewalk, not on the road. Or, like, if you get run over, well, that's not your fucking lane to be. Like, no shit, you got run over. Like, you shouldn't have fucking been on the road. That's for cars. That's not for people walking. Like, the fuck? If you're crossing the road, okay, but like, by their standards, it's like, yeah, that's just, you're just annoying the shit out of people. That's fine. You're not being violent. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure Justin Trudeau did apply violence to these people, and I saw a clip that Tucker showed of like some person, he just like honked the truckers, and the police literally came and beat him to the ground because he honked it, like, to acknowledge the truckers or something. Like, yeah, it's like Justin Trudeau, I heard, I don't know anything about him, but like from what Tucker said from him, like, he seems to have legitimate reasons to think that Justin Trudeau is a dictator, but like, he was saying in this, oh yeah, like, us giving all this money to protect Ukraine's sovereignty as a democratic state, which he also thinks, yeah, Zelensky is a dictator. I don't know anything about Zelensky. I get why Tucker would disagree with it. Apparently, he jailed his political opponent, though, so that is a pretty big thing. But his argument is really, yeah, like, if we're gonna care so much about foreign countries over our own, like, his thing is, oh yeah, why are Ukraine's borders so much more important than ours? And I would say, well, we're not getting invaded. Mexico hasn't declared war on us. Ukraine is at war with Russia. Like, elementary schools in Ukraine have been bombed by Putin. Hundreds of kids dead. Is Mexico doing that to us? And if they were, yeah, our border would be, like, yeah, I think it's a whole different story. But based on that premise, he was saying, yeah, we shouldn't care about Ukraine so much. If we're gonna care about protecting them as a democracy so much, when he jailed his political opponent, apparently, well, Justin Trudeau is also a fascist. Like, he was violently getting rid of the peaceful protesters who were like the truckers. And his argument was, well, I don't think that we should put all that much work into foreign countries, but if we are, how about we stay logically consistent? And if we're gonna like attack Russia and favor Ukraine, if we're gonna send all that money to Ukraine to help them fight Russia, how about we do the same thing and with the country that's legit just above us and fight them for being fascists? That's basically Tucker's argument. So he was arguing against helping Ukraine, and he was using the analogy that, well, for the same reason that I'm against helping Ukraine, I'm also against attacking Canada. And I'm just saying, yeah, if we're gonna say that, well, we should attack Canada. Yeah, I mean that. And St. Kruger went on from there. It's like, yeah, St. Kruger is very, you could say disingenuous. I mean, he'll call other people disingenuous. Yeah, that was fucking hilarious. Anything recent that I haven't watched yet? It's like I already watched it and my head sort of hurts. I don't... Oh my god. This was so cancer. This was the best video that I've ever seen from him. And I love how they fucking went and disliked that. But... There's... Untitled Chapter. This is 3 months old. Do I really care? Oh my god. What my dude, like TYT is sort of just full of assholes. Yeah, that's sort of what she was doing. If I remember well. Oh my fucking god, that was so gay too. Like he was. Yeah, I saw that video. He was just sort of being harassed by people. Like those were probably his friends. It's like, you know how with your friends. But I think I commented on that. I don't know if I did on this account. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, dude, and usually I worked in McDonald's, they would usually say, hey, dude, I want to fuck your mom, bro. Your mom has a thick ass or some shit. Like, they would fuck around, sort of do stuff like that, and you'd just, like, play into it, just be... It's like, yeah, apparently these people were trying to do that to Tucker Carlson with his daughter, being like... Dude, your daughter's like... And he was clearly bothered by it. And they took a clip from that to try and make Tucker look bad, because he was just, like, sort of playing into it, just being polite with them. It's like, yeah, that, like, when people would be like, bro, your mom got a thick ass, bro, it's like, bro, what in the fuck? Like, what is wrong with you, dude? Like, I guess that's sort of funny, but it's like, dude, like, okay, you said that, just don't fucking keep going into it. Like, that's sort of an uncomfortable fucking topic, right? It's like, same thing here, and it's like, yeah, he was just playing along, being like, oh yeah, like, talking about fucking
Okay,
let's
this is
just
gonna sound a little
this.
nuts, but the fastest and easiest way to make passive online income
the best snack.
That is.
Shut the fuck up. Okay.
Here's Trixie. She wants to explore my body a little bit. So, hey, let's go crazy. Wow.
That if it weren't my daughter,
that's
I'd
one theory.
that.
Well, I mean, it's
I just can't, and I just think that's pretty unlikely.
Can you tell them as outlandish as that is? How old is your daughter?
14.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, clearly he was like, yeah, he was like uncomfortable. Anybody would be sort of uncomfortable there. And he was just playing along with the ideology, like he was joking. Why would that shit even be tape recorded? What fucking creep tape recorded this? Just to try making Tucker look bad. Like, what an absolute fucking degenerate filth, whoever filmed that, just to try making Tucker look bad. Like, you're just such an asshole. But, like, yeah, he was sort of playing around. Like, yeah, like, oh, dude, I would love that shit. Like, he's joking, dude. I'm pretty sure he's married to someone. Isn't that person, like, his age? It's like, he's not even attracted to younger people, and they'll, like, try to do this scotch or, like, yeah, but aren't you all about, like, aren't you saying trans people, like, they're, like, grooming kids and shit? And it's like, I disagree with that whole thing. I disagree with Tucker on that. I think he should learn to, like, also not assume fake points of views, not make the same mistake Cenk Uygur is constantly making. Assume, yeah, like, if, like, significant percentage, like, even if it's less than 1%, if it's, like, almost 1%, of, like, such a huge scale as, like, America, that fucking matters. Like, you can't just assume all these people just have a fake point of view. Oh, well, they're actually trying to groom kids. Like, most people are good people. But, like, that has nothing to do with one another. Like, the guy was sort of harassing him, or, like, just teasing him, and he was just sort of playing along. Like, like, you're just such a fucking retard. Like, you're just such a toxic retard. Like, holy shit, dude. I don't know. I don't know anything about that, and yet, I saw that first on Tucker, and, like, he sounded pretty insane, but, like, tries to rewrite the history of MLK's assassin. Dude, I just don't really care. What? Is there anything that sort of appeals to me? Cryptic shot at Trump? But he took shots at Trump. That usually didn't happen. I think he's very pro-Trump. 2, 3.
Oh! Didn't even feel it. My name's McKenna, and I lost 16 pounds using...
Is it? Oh, no.
It's a tiny...
Is that a vaccine ad or some
device that you put on your arm, and it continuously tracks your glucose level 24/7, so you can see how your body responds to different food.
That sounds pretty cool.
Last night, Tucker Carlson was criticizing politicians who shouldn't be providing advice in areas where they've personally failed. And while he didn't name any names, it sure sounded like he was talking about one person in particular. Take a look at this video and see if you can figure out who.
500-pound warhead, 300 bombers to it. It really can put the Russians at threat, but we haven't done that, and I think we should put him at threat. Until he really believes that we're seriously going after him, he's going to continue to make these threats.
So again, anybody who had a hand in, say, like the last 5 wars that diminished American power, killed Americans, made us poorer, hurt the United States long-term in very real ways. Anyone who participated in any of that should probably bow out of the conversation about the latest war. For the same reason that you wouldn't say take financial advice from someone who had gone bankrupt, or go to marriage counseling with someone who's been divorced 3 times, because they've demonstrably failed in their area of so-called expertise. And that would include virtually everyone you hear talking about this stuff.
So look, he listed those potential characteristics as...
Yeah, Nate, Tucker's being very consistent here. He's just against war. And to be fair, I absolutely think we should go to war against Putin. Like, I think the way we should do that, we should try to find a way to assassinate him. But yeah, like, they're nuking fucking elementary schools. They built trenches, I heard, in Ukraine. The Russians did. They built... they're genociding the Ukrainians. They're pretty much doing that. It's like, we're just gonna let them do that? Like, the fuck? No, we can't just do that. We can't just let Russia just fucking start doing that shit. That's fucking insane. So I'd say, yeah, like, some wars can definitely be justified, but I think that's sort of toxic of Tucker to say, well, if you're involved in it, just shut your fucking mouth now. We don't care what you have to say. But, like, I definitely think there's a point to that. Sure, like, what was he? I think it was against the Iraq war, which I don't know anything about that. I'm just generally anti-war because I think war bad. And, yeah, maybe we should stop focusing on hypothetical foreign threats. But... Is he again, like, is he for nerfing the fucking extreme military budget and actually, using that money to upgrade, domestic thing, like threats that are actually happening over here, not the very hypothetical foreign threat of say a country wants to go to war against the world's biggest nuclear arsenal. Like that very hypothetical threat, funding that shit, and then who knows? Well, you fund that. Well, these people who supposedly stand for well, I'll fight to the death for Americans. Well, what are their leaders like? Oh well, it seems they care so little about your money, as Secular Talk pointed out in his video. No, I'm not gonna go back to it, but like, yeah, over $1 trillion in Pentagon money missing. These people care so much about you, that they care so much about your stolen taxpayer money that they don't even bother accounting for, like, tracking where it's going. They don't even bother accounting for that. That's how much they care about you. So yeah, that's a giant scam. They're wasting your taxpayer money, and I wonder if Tucker's also against that, because if he's anti-war, like, what's the point of a giant military?
Random things.
Shouldn't we at least nerf it if we're gonna go with an anti-war over pro-war agenda? Like, it'd just sort of come hand in hand.
But when you put them all together, it kind of sounds like he's only talking about one person. Of course, Donald Trump has been divorced only twice, although Tucker stumbled over saying, he was originally going to say, has been married 3 times, and he changed it to 3 divorces, has been bankrupted many times, and of course, Donald Trump has been an enthusiastic advocate for wars like in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as leading us through.
Yeah, wow. If Tucker is saying that, he's really taking big shots. And that sort of shows, yeah, your propagandist just fucking like waiting for the status quo. Just vouching for the status quo. Yeah, where's he now? It seems like, yeah, maybe he's taking a turn here. Huh? Where's your fake point of view gone now, buddy?
2 years of war as president, which I think Tucker Carlson probably remembers. He might also remember, by the way, that he was a cheerleader for the war in Iraq and Afghanistan as well. He eventually backtracked on.
Yeah, so he changed his mind. Isn't that a good thing? Like, oh, well, if you change your mind, well, now, well. Yeah, Secular Talk pointed that out. Like, these people aren't interested in actually changing people's minds. They're like, oh, well, your mind used to be different. You used to have the wrong opinion. Well, we don't care about you. Nah, like, we don't want you, actually. Like, fuck off. Jesus Christ, this is so fucking long.
He was a cheerleader for the war in Iraq and Afghanistan as well. He eventually backtracked on that after, let's say, 30, 50, 70,000 people had been killed. So I guess he got his
yeah, so he changed his mind. That's a good
He got his thoughts together at some point, but he doesn't want you to remember all of that. Yeah. And I wonder to both of you on the panel,
my God.
Was it just a coincidence? Could it possibly be a coincidence that he said all of those highly specific things and have him not be talking about Donald Trump?
Here's one thing you need to do before you buy anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch this first.
Watch this. I can.
Yeah, so a lot of people in the media are saying that, oh, what a funny mistake by Tucker Carlson. Ha ha on the slip up. I don't think it's a slip up at all. Okay, so 3 strikes and you're out. First of all, you've got bankrupt. Why would we take business advice from a guy who's bankrupt? Trump's been bankrupt.
I don't know why you're going with the 3 rule. You could use your intuition. That's just better.
6 times. 6. Okay. And I love how fair and honest we are.
No, he was just making that analogy. That, what the fuck, dude? That's such bad framing. No, he was just comparing, like, someone who keeps bringing us to war to, like, yeah, if you're bankrupt, we should. That's a like pretty common comparison, dude. I should go take my prescription pills. I'll do that soon. But dude, my ADHD pills are fucking lit, dude. I used to snort them. I don't really do that anymore. Like, bro, they are the best fucking pills. They make me less fucking stupid temporarily. That's how good they are. They can do that to me. Like, hell yeah. I'm definitely not gonna take them to sound less stupid in my live stream. Like, 3 concurrent views. Let's go. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't take weed, like, right now to sound less stupid in my fucking live stream. I'm fucking my prescription pills, but, like, I fucking guarantee you, they do make me less stupid.
that we bother to say. Now, technically,
I'm surprised. I have like fucking current views and no comments. By the way, if y'all have anything to say, please feel free to say it, dude. I'm gonna lose all y'all. And it's like, fuck, dude.
Married 3 times, not divorced 3 times, but he's working. If you've ever seen the Melania videos where she swats his hand away, he's working on the 3rd one. And so,
okay, that's funny.
And then, by the way, this is an important thing that nobody else is mentioning. Kellogg, the guy that he's ripping, General Kellogg, that was on Fox News there, is a former Trump administration official. So he's also throwing rocks at Trump officials, okay? And not a guy who had a falling out with Trump. So now the other thing that he's doing is saying, now anyone who participated in those last 5 wars, had a hand in any way, is in essence disqualified. But if you're a talk show host and you weren't officially in government, so you didn't have a hand in those wars, and Tucker's gone to great lengths to
But he changed his mind before the war was over. Like, most people would at least give him credit for this. Like, yeah, that's where the weed is. Bro, he changed his fucking mind. Like, he realized, yeah, I was wrong, and he changed his mind. That's like the type of person you should consider the most as legitimate. Like, yeah, he saw, like, he came from the wrong point of view, and he realized, oh no, I actually did. And he talked about this. He talked, like, in some episodes that I've watched him in podcasts, like, bring that up, like, oh, I realized how horribly wrong I was. And it's like, he changed his mind. Like, why are you still gonna go after him for that? Like, that's just so stupid. Like, you don't care about changing anyone's opinions and maybe, like, no, if you were ever wrong, you will always be wrong.
Say, okay, I changed my mind on Iraq right away.
Well, I'm pretty sure Cenk Uygur used to be a Republican. I think he said that, so.
Right away, it was really quick. It's like a Trumpian response. And so he
did he just say Tucker changes
lengths to say, I changed my mind on Iraq right away. Right away. It was really quick. It's like a Trumpian response.
Dude, I don't know any of the context behind that. Fuck, dude, I'm back to 2 people. So I don't know anything about that, but like, this is Cenk Uygur saying that about Tucker Carlson, like, probably fucking wrong.
And so he is going to claim, I don't have anything to do with those things. By the way, if you remember, he said that he changed his mind on Iraq. He said it on a radio show because the Iraqis were monkeys and he didn't care about them.
Yep.
Okay, so that's who Tucker Carlson is. So why would he take all?
Yeah, I'm sure if he said that, it's probably a joke. It's like, yeah, I say the word nigger all the time because it's a fire alarm for libtards, so why wouldn't I want to ring that? It's like, people just like to fucking joke, dude. Especially when the entire party that's opposing them are a bunch of triggered snowflakes. Like, yeah, it's sort of funny to try to go and trigger them.
All these shots at Trump. Well, you know, I've been saying this a long time.
Let me go take but I need that thing real quick. Oh, dude, my fucking headphones just fell. Fucking killing myself, dude. I
think Tucker Carlson's long-term plan, which might not be that long-term, is to replace Donald Trump in the Republican Party and be the new cult leader as well as potentially political leader. But he can't do a direct assault on Trump. His audience loves Trump too much. So
yeah, doesn't Cenk go after Tucker all the time for being a conspiracy theorist? And I heard from, I think, Secular Talk, apparently, fuck, dude, that's some good gas. Well, apparently he either went to speak at an event or scheduled to go to speak at an event, which apparently a lot of, like, presidents go to speak at before they go and run for president. Like, maybe Tucker's gonna run. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see him run. I'd fucking vote for him, definitely. But, like, yeah, I don't know why you're just assuming, like, the only reason why you're definitely 100% assuming this intention now is because you have a way to throw it back at Tucker Carlson and put malicious intentions behind it. Like, that's literally all you do. And ironically enough, like, I think that could be one of the biggest criticisms of Tucker Carlson. Like, he sort of goes with a point of view, and he builds his story based on his point of view. Like, he doesn't just ask a question, just like, no, he goes off with a premise and he builds his story based on his premise. Like, he doesn't really build off of the premise, I don't know, and then just go look and build, well, what exactly, like, he goes off the premise, I'm right about this, and like, this is my opinion, and he builds his opinion based off of and yeah, like, his entire show is just like bringing back and stuff to go towards his opinion. Like, he doesn't really give people the benefit of the doubt. Well, what if these environmentalists, like, what if they weren't just either ignorant and just tricked, just like they'll be tricked into believing that they're women when they're actually a man. Like, they're so stupid they'll just get that confused. Either they're that stupid or they're just lying. Like, yeah, Trent Kruger does the same fucking type of shit, dude. Jesus.
He's chipping away at him in subtle ways like this, and it's.
Bro, I guess I probably lost all my views. Nah, one now, fuck. Yeah, more or less, something like that.
It's in the prompter, guys. If it's in the prompter, it's not an accident. They wrote it ahead of time.
That's true.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you hit all the nails on the head when it comes to this. So it's going to be interesting to see how this continues.
Y'all are big fucking conspiracy theorists. Let me just tell you.
To play out in this battle between Trump and Tucker Carlson. Because Trump is a street fighter. That he is. And he's definitely not going to let Tucker. I suspect he will not let Tucker get away with this.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I'm sure they talk at least semi-frequently. And I wonder how it's going to shake out. I mean, I would also like to just throw out there, I think it's probably pragmatic on the part of Tucker Carlson to not name names here, but he also definitely thinks that he's smarter, better than Trump, and here he is not having the act.
Yeah, he is. He's smarter, better looking. Like, he definitely looks like the guy who'd get all the fucking pussy. He could definitely grab a girl by the pussy and not have them freak out. Which Trump, I don't think if he could do that. It's like, I don't know, bro. I'm an incel. I don't think Tucker Carlson is an incel. Yeah, Tucker is smarter. He has all of the good qualities that a president should have, honestly. I think he does tend to get his facts wrong a lot, because Fox News sort of just feeds him the talking points, and a lot of the time they're wrong, but like, oh, you're gonna say Tucker Carlson's a propagandist. He just, oh, well, the shit, like, you'll hear him say that, and it's like, oh, he just made up this propaganda shit, and it's like, then you'll just go look at Gutfeld, and it's like, what is he saying? Oh, well, like, pretty much the same shit. It's sort of like, I don't know, every time Kanye did some dumb shit, and it's like, why is that what we're talking about on a political level? Is that productive to the like, is that, like, with people getting killed every day, and that's what we're talking, like, good job on our hierarchy of priorities for the political land field. Like, love how people who will have, like, millions of subscribers, that's what they'll be talking about. Like, okay, where was I going with that? Fuck, dude. But, like, yeah, that, right, like, every time something might happen with Kanye, yeah, all the left-wing people, they would just, at the same time, pretty much within the same, like 2-hour window, like, you'd see fucking new video from Sam Satter, TYT, The Humanist Report, The Rational National, Secular Talk, who else are that? Like, fucking all these people, like, they all go at the same time, new video on the new, like, outlandish fucking retard thing that Kanye, the mental patient, who isn't on his meds, right, yeah, the new thing he said, Well, same thing with Fox News. Like, you'll see Tucker Carlson, oh, what is he saying? Then you click on the Gutfeld video, and he's pretty much saying the same shit. So, oh, I guess Tucker Carlson didn't really make up his talking points, did he now? It's the same thing with you. Like, if you said something that is not true, like you accuse America of being systemically racist, I won't just go off of the, like, just a fake point of view narrative that you just hate the average middle class of America. You just hate Americans. You're just prejudiced against Americans, and you just think that they're bad people. No, I'm just going to assume that you genuinely believe that the majority of America is racist, even though you have eyes and you can look around you. Like, maybe you just live in the North, and you just think that's the thing in the South, and, well, if you were, like, say me, someone who has lived in Louisiana since I was 6, and am now 20, still an incel, proud beta male, you know, dude, I'm way too fucking high, but, like, yeah, if you, I'm sure if you were like me, you lived in the South, and you could have eyes and see, like, yeah, if I, like, other than online, yeah, I have never met or seen anybody who was racist, and oh boy, did I meet a lot of people in every school. Like, everyone knew me for being the fucking class clown. Like, I would wear a creeper hoodie and zip it up, like, all the fucking way. I still have that hoodie, sometimes. Like, I was known as the super autistic retard in every school. Like, I knew a bit of everybody. Like, dude, nobody was racist, ever. Nobody who I ever knew in the South. But I am still not going to assume that you just hate Americans. Because that's just not a genuine way to look at people's positions. Just, oh, well, I don't like it, I think it's absurd, so you're just full of shit. No, like, that's not a healthy way to have public conversation, especially if you're going to be a public figure, and you're going to be all for personal responsibility, especially for others, especially for the first class. Yeah, maybe, especially when you're gonna talk about Tucker, oh, well, you didn't have any personal responsibility, huh? You're just trying to escape out of that one because you're a news host. Well, Chenkuigo, you're now sort of part of the first class, and it's like, you're just asking for, like, you're demonizing fucking, like, anybody from the first class. Oh, they're taking your money, as if that's, like, in general what, how you represent corporations. You literally said corporations aren't human beings and they shouldn't have rights. Imagine if somebody said that of Jewish people. They aren't people and they shouldn't have rights. Imagine if Jeff Bezos killed someone. Do you think that he'd be sued? Is he not a person? I mean, he's the owner of a big corporation, I'm guessing. I only know him because, like, the only thing I know about him is that he's a billionaire. I'm guessing that's why I know him. That's why people know him, because he's a billionaire. Is he not a person? Like, these corporations, they're owned by someone. If the corporation does something, they'll go to court. Who goes to court? Like, who the fuck do you think? Do they just have an entity sitting at the guilty, like, at the accused chair? So, yeah, he definitely demonizes people. He says he doesn't, but he fucking definitely, like, dehumanizes corporations. He's literally said in the Senkugo versus Tucker Carlson debate, yeah, like, these are not even people. I don't even see them as people. They should not be granted human rights, and their rights they shouldn't have rights. Their rights shouldn't be protected. He literally said all that. You could go ahead and see it. It's like, yeah, that fucking guy is now a part of the first class, or a part of this, like, thing that he, like, he owns a corporation. He thinks, oh, well, corporations aren't people. Okay, so if they do some wrong, if TYT does some wrong, do you think you should not be held accountable for it? Since, well, it's TYT, bro, it's not me. TYT isn't a person, bro. Like, this guy is so fucking retarded. Dude, like, something inside me is telling me that I'm just getting higher and I'm expecting my arguments to get worse because I'm fucking high. I think my arguments are great, dude. I don't think I'm fucking, like, like, shooting myself in the foot, like, at all right now.
Actual balls to just...
Like, if you think so, shut the fuck up. And, dude, how many views do I have? Oh, 3. Well, I guess I'm doing a good job, okay? I just proved my point. Let me keep
say what he
smoking
thinks.
more weed.
If he actually thinks that Donald Trump is a disaster and isn't qualified...
Jesus Christ, it's taking me way too long to reach the end of this video. Like, I have this huge fucking dialogue. Yeah, you know.
...qualified to be president, which he sort of is implying there in areas
Dude,
that
let me actually, like, bring that back a bit so I can hear what the fuck he's saying.
The actual balls to just say what he thinks. If he actually thinks that Donald Trump is a...
Yeah, maybe he doesn't think that. Ever cross your mind if he didn't say it, that maybe that's not what he's saying, otherwise he would have just fucking said it? Like, ever thought of that fucking argument to your conspiracy theory? Oh, well, he actually didn't say it, so his conspiracy theory doesn't hold much weight. Like, I'm just assuming this is his position. Why would he be saying it at all if, like, oh, this is gonna be super offensive and stuff, and, like, I wouldn't want to say that, right? But he just said that, so why would he say that if he fucking just, like, doesn't want anybody to think he's saying that? Like, if it's so reasonable to assume based off of that clip that that's what he's saying, well, if it was and he would therefore know that because he's the one saying it, maybe he wouldn't fucking say it. It's like, this fucking dude.
A disaster and isn't qualified to be president, which he sort of is implying there in areas that are important, like in questions of war, then why did you...
I feel like this guy would be the type of guy to say that, well, bread is the reason why we need to keep having an animal holocaust. Yeah, I'm streaming. I feel like this guy would be the type of guy to say, well, plants, like, fucking cockroaches and stuff, or ants, like, bugs get murdered in the, like, plant agriculture process. So, like, even though, like, we could literally end fucking, starvation. Talk about, oh, Elon Musk needs to be doing this. Yeah, if the middle class accepted to go plant-based, we could legit end world starvation by, instead of feeding the grains that we feed to the animals that we then slaughter, we just fed these grains to people. We could end world starvation. Like, we could end hunger. We could end that shit. But yeah, like, we need to, like, that's the type of guy who I would assume this guy is. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make that.
You support him last time. Why would you definitely support him next time? And again, by the way, his whole point there, and I really do think that we should dive into his greater...
Yeah, well, if people aren't getting that from this, which I'm guessing they aren't going to, otherwise Tucker would be getting backlash. But what are you assuming that he'll then bring that up in the debate and say, hey, that's what I said earlier? Because if he brings that up as a point, people will call him out and say, well, why didn't you say this earlier? Why didn't you say earlier, just name Trump? So it would only work against him for him to, in the future, just bring up, hey, by the way, I said that, like, I hate Trump. Look, I said it right here. It wouldn't work in his favor for him to do that either way, so he's building up this case. It's like, maybe if that's actually how he feels about Trump, and, like, maybe a lot of these things align with Trump coincidentally, and it turns out, like, a lot of the things that Donald Trump promises, he then goes and does the exact opposite, so he poses himself as, it tends to be the exact opposite of what he does. So this scenario isn't even, like, it would make intuitive sense for Trump to put himself in that type of scenario where someone who was, like, Tucker Carlson, he's not a populist unlike Trump. He said so in the debate with Cenk Uygur. He just tends to have populist positions, I'm guessing, because, like, as he says, the ultimate difference between him and Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson's worldview is America's first primary premise is to make sure that its people are flourishing, that it's to ensure the well-being of its people first and foremost, the liberty and the well-being, and well, to like, yeah, the government should serve its people firstly. So, like, yeah, he's a people's person. He thinks the government exists purely to maintain, like, its people's well-being, to ensure its citizens' rights and stuff. And, like, yeah, he's very much in favor of the people. He wants to make sure in policies mostly to go towards maximizing the well-being of the people, so it would make sense that he's populist. And since Trump, like, yeah, he does a lot of things that, like, yeah, he's sort of the opposite of what he says he is. Like, I just thought about that. It would make sense for Trump to put himself in such a position where Tucker would just be making some criticism that Trump would probably agree with on its face, but that actually go ahead and, like, when you think about it in the context of, like, how that would apply to Trump, yeah, it doesn't look too good for Trump. Like, Trump tends to put himself in those situations. I forgot what my original point was with that, but, like, yeah, like, you're just gonna assume, based on Tucker saying that, oh, well, he's trying to tell Trump, oh, yeah, and it's completely fair to assume maybe Tucker will change his mind in the future and think, oh, well, yeah, maybe, since I haven't thought about that, but all that is true, yeah, I guess it would logically follow that Trump should get out of this conversation. Now, would he tell Trump that, like, as a political move? That'd be sort of stupid. But, yeah, like, maybe you might think that in the future, then you're just gonna accuse him of, like, this, like, ill-intended fucking dog shit, just fake point of view, because that's all y'all always do, as if that's gonna unite the country or whatever, because this country is all that matters. Yeah, people from outside, yeah,
point is that he gets what other people don't get, which is we should look at the results of what happens. If people say X is going to work and it doesn't, we should learn from that. Well, you're saying that Trump shouldn't be trusted, and yet you support him. So why should we trust your evaluation of presidents?
He overall thinks that Trump is more reasonable than the average person. Tucker Carlson will admit Trump isn't perfect. Like, oh yeah, he's one-dimensional. Okay, fair. I don't even know what the fuck one-dimensional is because I'm that fucking illiterate. But, like, he definitely has criticisms of Donald Trump. He doesn't think Donald Trump is perfect or a divine god. He's stated that. Like, he's pretty much, what he would be implying is, maybe Donald Trump should shut his mouth about the war here. But he thinks Donald Trump is better than Democratic candidates. Like, duh, bro, I'm high, and I am beyond fucking high, and I can fucking tell you that. You're just so fucking stupid, dude. Like, what? Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you. You're just ignorant.
And also, like, why should we trust you on matters of war? You were wrong about Iraq and Afghanistan. You were
so Tucker having that criticism of Trump supposedly that is bad. Like, Tucker Carlson is wrong for like having a problem with Trump being wrong about all this, and him having the political instinct. Hey, you know what? You were wrong about all this. So, like, how about you shut your mouth on this one? And Tucker Carlson actually has been very, very consistent with this. I forgot what interview. Like, very recently in an interview, he said, well, I was embarrassed. I made some predictions for the midterms, and like, I learned from that. I will never make predictions about political elections ever again because I was wrong and I just lost the right to do that. That were Tucker Carlson's words. Those were Tucker Carlson's words. Let me try to find it. That definitely No, dude, like, that's gonna be extremely hard to find, especially if I word it like that. Like, yeah, I saw he had an interview with someone, and he was pointing out the fact that, like, Democrats will never admit that they're wrong. And yeah, Democrats will never give him the benefit of the doubt, so I get him seeing it from that perspective. But, like, yeah, again, what the fuck was I talking about? Dude, I might need to go back on my stream and just see what the fuck not taken into account, and people can fucking wrong, and I just lost the right to do that. That would Tucker. Oh yeah, like Tucker said legit in an interview with someone. He said, yeah, like I was embarrassingly wrong about my midterm predictions, and you know what? I'm learning from that. I'm not gonna make future predictions. And maybe he's just holding Donald Trump to the same standards that he's holding himself to. Like, if I ever look at the clip again, I'll definitely link it in the description of this video. So check that out if you're watching after. Maybe I put it in yet, who knows. But yeah, like, Tucker Carlson actually holds himself to extremely high standards when it comes to that. Like, after the midterms, like, I saw an interview where he, like, in the interview, he said, yeah, like, I will never make any predictions again as to who will win. And because I saw I was embarrassingly wrong, I'm not gonna do that now. So, I mean, he has those high standards on himself. Why wouldn't he have those on Donald Trump? And it's like, fuck, dude, maybe he was referencing Donald Trump. I mean, if he was specifically, I mean, it's a bad political instinct to do that when it, like, he's overall in support of Trump. Maybe, like, it doesn't mean that he hates him if, in this specific instance, he wants Trump to back out of the conversation, say, hey, you were wrong too many times here. Maybe put your ego aside and realize sometimes you're wrong and try to learn from that. Say, yeah, well, you know what, yeah, I sort of did a bad job. Now it's let's let others who weren't wrong so much. Let's put the country's best interests aside and recognize patterns for what they are. I mean, Tucker Carlson is really the type of person to go in that direction. Like, he doesn't have a huge ego, and Trump has a huge ego, and that's a very big thing. Like, Tucker Carlson, I remember at some point in an interview he had with someone, that person asked, like, why don't you ever talk about yourself? And Tucker Carlson just thinks, yeah, that stuff, like, in my culture, in my family, like, that's really frowned upon. Like, constantly talking about yourself. It's like, no. No one cares about you. Just talk about other things. And Tucker never talks about himself. Has never talked about himself. Like, he is not self-centered. In fact, as he said, like, in his culture, it's repulsive. Like, it's like, you just don't do that. And maybe Tucker just has those standards for Trump, and he's disappointed in Trump because in that specific like, yeah, and from that angle, Trump is really not living up to, like, the standards, especially that Tucker has from, since Tucker really agrees with Trump on a lot of things.
You're wrong many times about Ukraine as well, which, by the way, is understandable. Not everybody can be an expert on everything, but have you ever heard Tucker Carlson apologize, say that he...
Yes. Dude, I'm gonna need to find that. Oh my god. Let me see. It was a pretty big while ago. Dude, if I look at these 4 episodes, usually they get taken down after, like, the first, like, day. And I feel like they'd be copyrighted. I don't... Dude, Yeah, I remember. I need to go back there. That was pretty. I don't know what my take on that is, but yeah, I'll have to find it. Yeah, he did apologize for his midterm results. He predicted a red wave multiple times. He said, "Yeah, we were clearly wrong," and yeah, same thing with Russia. Like Ukraine, Ukraine was invaded by Russia, and Tucker Carlson kept saying on his thing, it's outrageous. Putin's not gonna invade Russia, and okay, I could definitely Now this wasn't really an apology as opposed to like Tucker really did apologize for the fact that like he was wrong in the midterms in predicting a red wave. But like in this, he just if I remember, like he admitted we were wrong about this. We predicted that Russia wouldn't attack Ukraine, but we at least admitted we were wrong. However, the Democratic Party, because that's always his opening line, but yeah, let's see this.
Good evening and welcome.
There's one instance of him admitting he was wrong. I'm gonna have to find that clip, and I'll definitely put it in the description with a timestamp.
To Tucker Carlson tonight. Yesterday morning, Joe Biden's Secretary of State, a man called Tony Blinken, went on to the Sunday show over at CBS News to announce a new policy toward Russia. Going forward, Blinken explained, the Biden administration will use Poland as a cutout to send fighter jets to the government of Ukraine. Those jets will be used to fight the Russian military. Blinken announced this in a calm, even tone that suggested this was conventional procedure, business as usual, nothing to worry about, just another weekend at the State Department. But in fact, it's not typical. It's a very big step. It could turn out to be a pivot point in history. And for that reason, we want to show you the entire exchange. Here it is.
If, for instance, the Polish government...
By the way, he says this frees your mind, and this makes you a slave. So I'm sort of doing both. I'm gonna see how that works.
NATO member wants to send...
Like Tucker Carlson said, I watched in a recent clip, he says, nicotine frees your mind, and weed makes you an obedient slave. That's why the Democratic Party is like trying to ban nicotine, but trying to like perpetuate weed. Well, I'm doing both, bro. So hopefully that bounces it out. I should be like pretty much sober.
Send fighter jets. Does that get a green light from the U.S. or are you afraid that that will escalate tension?
No, that gets a green light. In fact, we're talking with our Polish friends right now about what we might be able to do to backfill their needs if, in fact, they choose to provide these fighter jets to the Ukrainians. What could we do? How can we help to make sure that they get something to backfill the planes that they're handing over to the Ukrainians?
Are you afraid that will escalate tension, asks the script reader, because even a CBS News anchor knows that sending fighter jets to a war usually does that. No, replies Tony Blinken. That gets a green light. It's a remarkable exchange. What are we watching here, apart from a conversation between two incredibly shallow people who have limited contact with reality? What we're watching is the beginning of a war between the United States and Russia. If that sounds jarring, what else would you call it? Now, you may support everything that Tony Blinken just said. Maybe you do support it. But let's not lie about what's happening. Let's be as honest and clear.
I think there are good comparisons to World War II. Again, I'm not making a Nazi reference, but I think those are in general good. And when you make a Nazi reference, by the way, like people just automatically go ahead and fucking jump to, oh, you're ad hominem. You're trying to make an ad hominem. You're just trying to say, oh, well, you support Hitler if you support this. People making Nazi references isn't like, dude, if you want to make a Nazi reference and like explain how, like, I don't know, me smoking my vape, some people are against my... If you want to explain how, like, there are parallels to draw between me vaping and why that's wrong, and what Hitler did and why what he did was wrong, if you have parallels to draw, like, you making a parallel to Hitler is not at all, like, you implying that, like, what Hitler did and what you're doing is wrong for the same reasons. The Holocaust is just like a good practical argument to make, because everyone already, from the bottom line, everyone overall agrees that the Holocaust was wrong. So we don't, like, it's a good thing to base yourself back to. Like, I think Holocaust references, we should try to avoid them as much as possible. Again, for practical reasons, because the well's been poisoned so much that, well, it's not really as practical when everybody's just gonna, like, fucking jump to, oh, you're making a Holocaust reference! Like, that's fucking retarded, dude. But, yeah, I think it is fair to point out, yeah, that is a situation where, the US going to war, say, with Germany, that would have been right. So, like, the point I'm making here is that, in general, us going to war with a big country, like, that might not, like, I'm sure the US going to war with Germany, that, like, it was horrible, the US going to war. Like, war in general is bad if we remove the context and the framing, but, look at what Vladimir Putin has done. Like, he is a pretty fucking evil person, dude. And he's done a lot of damage, so, like, I would say for that reason, like, yeah, going to war with, Russia, it's like, Russia is definitely not angels.
It can be, especially now, because it matters. The Biden administration just inserted itself with force into the middle of a hot war between two foreign powers. That means the United States is now an active participant in a war. We are at war with Russia. Whether or not that war has been officially declared, whether or not Congress has authorized that war, all of that is irrelevant. That war is happening right now as we watch. Why is no one in Washington saying anything about this? Because they support it. They always have. Almost 5 years ago, way back in 2017, Congressman Eric Swalwell of California came on this show. Why would he say that? Why would a border? They don't want a hostile government next door. Those are the facts. So with those facts in mind, the Biden administration's behavior in the days before the Ukraine invasion tells you a lot about what motivated them. With Russian troops massed by the thousands on the Ukrainian border, Joe Biden sent Kamala Harris, the least capable diplomat in Washington.
Hey, I think maybe that was the video.
So we should say we don't know anything beyond what we just showed you, the pictures, a lot of pictures that we just
that was
we don't know how this happened. We, of course, don't know where it's going. Nobody does. But Ben Hall is clearly right when he says this could be a legitimate disaster for Europe. But, of course, the invasion of Ukraine already is a legitimate disaster for Europe and the rest of the world. Europe just lost a huge percentage of its energy supply, which is not a small thing. We're all being reminded of that. So this situation appears to become more chaotic by the day, possibly even spinning out of control. And that, we must be honest, is shocking to us. We've been taken by surprise by the whole thing. We're not the only ones who were, but we're willing to admit it. The only thing more embarrassing than being wrong in your estimates is pretending that you weren't.
Yeah, so, here's one instance of Tucker Carlson apologizing for one thing that he did. I guess that's sort of a half-fledged apology. And he also provided a full-fledged apology for being wrong with the midterms, so.
So why didn't we see this coming, this total loss of control?
Yeah, so, yeah, there you go, buddy. You're wrong. Next. Of course, I have 0 views now. That's not a surprise.
You got it wrong. Even just recently, when Ukraine swept through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Dude, I just gotta make sure my desktop audio
pushing Russia out of whole regions.
Okay, yeah.
Followed weeks of Tucker Carlson saying the war was about to end. They were about to be totally conquered.
Yeah, he just apologized for that. That's funny how, let's just go back and see him bring that up, because we just saw a clip of him apologizing for it. Let's see it again, boys, for the memes, for the poggers. Can we have some,
So we should say
what was it? Oh yeah. Dang.
Tucker Carlson apologize, say that he got it wrong. Even just recently, when Ukraine swept through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles, pushing Russia out of whole regions, that followed weeks of Tucker Carlson saying the war was about to end, they were about to be totally conquered. As he said, man, I really love that. No, he supported multiple rounds of trillions of dollars of tax cuts under literally every Republican president that we've had.
I went through some of my most viral moments on the interwebs.
That was fucking amazing. Okay.
For decades. It has never produced the economic effect that they said it would. And yet, what will he support if Ron DeSantis becomes president? Trillions of dollars of tax cuts. I love the principle.
Yeah, I know, right? Imagine being against theft. Imagine being in favor of reducing the amount of theft you commit. Like, that's a bad thing, LMAO. This guy's fucking retarded, dude.
That he's expressing there. I just wish that he had literally ever in his life followed it.
Yeah, I mean, what you're bringing up, John, it would take some self-awareness.
Yeah.
For him and the courage.
God. Dude, should I just end the stream and go take my fucking ADHD pills? Like, fucking probably, I guess. Fuck, dude, this is sort of fun.
Be person enough to apologize and say I made a mistake, but he will never do that. And then the point that
he has done that a lot, like he has done that at least twice. With the midterm, fuck, dude. Oh my god, there's gonna be so many interviews on this. Wait,
watch this. I can show you how to get the sweetest deals online when you shop from major retailers like Amazon and Target.
Man, I'm glad to have you on the show. I've never really got to sit down with you and talk to you. I've never really had a chance.
Yeah, I think that might also be the interview where he looks a lot less young than in his than when he's filming from Fox News.
To get to know you. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, that also brings up the point, like, yeah, he's not egocentric, and Trump is very egocentric, and that's maybe where a big disconnect lies. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Tucker, like, he does have his differences with Trump, if Tucker went and, like, called Trump out for such and such, because he's not a fucking puppet, except for the fact that, like, he'll just believe Fox News for whatever, because, like, they're the only platform on, like, CNN and MSNBC that haven't just kicked him off for just, oh, well, we don't like your opinions. Like, I think one of those shows, like Crossfire, I think it just got ended because it wasn't pulling in a lot of success. But, like, from Tucker Carlson's point of view, if you don't just assume fake points of views because you're not retarded, yeah, like, 2 platforms kicked him off, censored him, and on Fox News, all the controversial stuff he has, like, in his mind he wants to share sometimes, like, yeah, they won't censor him for that. So yeah, the information that they'll provide him, he might assume, yeah, like, it's probably right. I mean, these are the people who are against my censorship, as opposed to these other people who are just, like, look at CNN, openly fucking, pushing white supremacy, trying to revive white supremacy when it's already fallen down to, like, pretty much what flat earth is in terms of relevancy. They're trying to revive it now by claiming it's this huge thing. And, like, yeah, of course he's gonna side with Fox News, but there are a lot of differences between Tucker and Trump. Let's just watch this for a bit. That's better than Cenk Uygur. Makes my mind fucking rock.
I don't know, 40 minutes together, and I think ask you all the things that everybody wants to ask you.
Like, why don't you go away?
I fucking love Tucker.
Instead,
I love him.
I'm going to ask you, I want to start with this. I want to ask you a question that I think almost every one of your haters and every one of your critics would like to ask. And I think, interestingly, a great amount of your fans would actually like to ask as well. And that is this. What happened to you?
Well, I got to be 53, and I just, you know, I've been in this business my whole life, and I have a very clear memory of the country that I grew up in, and I really liked it. I always liked the United States, and I watched it change, and I watched.
Yeah, and he's not talking about himself. That Will Kane, I don't know Will Kane. Like I saw, apparently he was a Fox host. He replaced Tucker for like a few episodes at some point. But like, yeah, Will Kane asked him a very direct question about Tucker, and Tucker is diverging the conversation back onto the United States because that's what he cares about. So yeah, Trump, if he would ask a question like that, oh, he would, like, of course he'd put in the blend of, well, the Democrats are trying to ruin this country because that's like his go-to talking point, and I think he's poggers for that. I think he should get another chance to be president because I want another 4 years worth of memes, dude. I just want it. I'm fiending for it, dude. But
in those changes, a lot of my preconceptions get debunked. And so I changed my opinions along with the changing evidence, which I thought was what you're supposed to do. And you know, I'm not. I am embarrassed about how wrong I was about a number of different things, but I'm certainly not embarrassed to have changed my mind. What would be embarrassing is if, in the face of a mountain of evidence that you were wrong, you know, you resisted admitting it and changing course. So for me, the Iraq War was definitely a pivot point. I was in television then. That was 19 years ago. And I was cheering it on.
He also said, I don't think it was in this interview, but yeah, I'll definitely link it in the description if I find it. He said, and he was making a parallel again, like, unsurprisingly, to why can't the Democrats admit when they're wrong, which is also true. A lot of people, that's a generalization you can make to pretty much every group, can admit when they're wrong. Like, yeah, people in general have big egos and don't like to admit that they're wrong. That's why transphobia is still a thing. But, like, yeah, he said literally, yeah, I was embarrassingly wrong about my midterm predictions. I predicted a red wave, and yeah, I'm never gonna make another prediction on any fucking like electoral like, I'm never gonna weigh in on that again. And he was also hesitant at some point. Like, he was on stage and like someone asked him, what do you think about like Ron DeSantis versus Donald Trump? And he was like, nah, I don't really want to answer that, I guess.
Basically, in effect, I actually had reservations. Even the worst part, in fact, is that
wasn't really the framing of the question. It was more of like, do you support him more? But like, yeah, he doesn't
had
really
gut level reservations. I never understood the connection between Saddam Hussein and 9/11. I assumed that the CIA and the various intel agencies of other countries, our allies, Great Britain, France, were correct in saying that Saddam had WMD, but I never exactly understood why it would be a good idea to invade Iraq. But I effectively, passively went along with it, and then I went to Iraq in December of 2003, the day, in fact, Saddam was captured in Tikrit, and I watched the place fall apart, and along with it, a lot of my...
Yeah, and he's, in general, that's like his big talking point against homelessness and immigration, and I think he's wrong about that, generally speaking. But yeah, he'll say he doesn't like to see beautiful things get trashed. Like anything that would involve like I don't know, places getting destroyed. Fine, like he's just against things getting destroyed in general. Period. Like that's sort of his position, and he tends to like having simple positions on stuff. He thinks we need to make politics more simple because when you try to complicate things, people just add in this level of just deception and all, which is pretty true. And it's like he wants to go back to basics, go back to simple stuff. And like, yeah, life just has shades of gray, but he thinks, yeah, the world isn't that complicated. Like, we can base ourselves off of simple stuff with more on the simple to concentrate on that.
Previous assumptions. And I came back and I admitted I was completely wrong. I'm ashamed. I've been ashamed ever since. And what was so striking about that whole process was how few people were willing to say the same thing. They were like, no, it's a good idea. In the face of really overwhelming evidence that the
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure a Trump was like on board with that, so that might imply Trump. And he didn't say, oh, but Trump was all right, and let me explain to you why. No, he didn't exclude Trump, so I'm guessing that was probably Trump's position. Okay, let's go to this entitled black lady who's probably going to talk about how like white people are too entitled. Like, I'm just kidding, of course. I just see, usually that's what black ladies are on to talk about on TYT, how they're just so oppressed. So I think it's fair to make that joke, since they make that joke a lot about white people. So
yeah, I mean, what you're bringing up, John, it would take some self-awareness.
Yeah.
For him and the courage, be person enough to apologize and say I made a mistake, but he will never do that. And then the point that
okay, dude, let's go again.
Bringing up, John, it would take some.
I love the principle that he's expressing there. I just wish that he had literally ever in his life followed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. Where was that? Here we go.
I assumed that the CIA and the various intel agencies of other countries, our allies, Great Britain, France, were correct in saying that Saddam had WMD, but I never exactly understood why it would be a good idea to invade Iraq, but I effectively, passively went along with it, and then I went to Iraq in December of 2003, the day, in fact, Saddam was captured in Tikrit, and I watched the place fall apart, and along with it, a lot of my previous assumptions. And I came back and I admitted I was completely wrong. I'm ashamed. I've been ashamed ever since.
What you're bringing up, John, it would take some self-awareness.
Yeah.
For him and the courage, be person enough to apologize and say I made a mistake, but he will never do that. And then the point that Jink made about when you ask why would he name the name, Jink, you already alluded to that. It is his viewers. They will rain hellfire on that dude if he ever, even once, goes head to head.
There are many clips left on the editing room floor, so we've
with Trump in that way, and I don't think he can stand that kind of heat.
Yeah, no.
Well, I got some good gas, bro.
And again, look, I hate to do it, but I give Tucker credit on this all the time. He's a smart guy, and he knows you got to chip away at Trump before doing a frontal assault. So he's planting like 20 knives in his back before he hits him in the front. And he's a right winger, so that's how they roll. Okay. Now, but I love what John said on the content of this story. Tucker is both dramatically wrong and, by the way, also correct. Wait, how? So he's doing unbelievable, over-the-top propaganda for the Russians. He has this retired Colonel Douglas McGregor on all the time. McGregor is a lunatic. He goes on there. He just said last week, right now things are going very, very badly, which is why the Ukrainians are so desperate. What are you talking about? The Russians are running from Ukraine. Like, this is.
Dude, I was sort of zoned out and high as fuck. I didn't hit anything you just said.
For the Russians. He has this retired Colonel Douglas McGregor on all the time. McGregor.
No, he's just like pointing out those that most people don't agree with.
He's a lunatic.
Because he's not a populist.
He goes on there. He literally.
He told you that, by the way. Yeah, this is pretty recent. Tucker actually told you that in an interview. I mean, in a debate you had with him. Cenk Uygur versus Tucker Carlson debate. Look it up. Tucker Carlson told you that he's not a populist. You didn't even push back against him and claim, "Oh no, you're lying." You didn't even do this fake point of view bullshit that you do on your show. You didn't do that to his face. You didn't even push back and say, "Oh no, you're lying. You might claim to not be a populist, but I think you're a populist," because you understand how fucking retarded that is. Just assuming, no, well, you're lying. It's like, yeah, so you didn't even bring that up. He said, no, I'm not a populist, actually. We're like, okay. And yeah, here you are fucking saying, populist, bro. It's like,
He
shut
just
the
said
fuck up.
last week, right now things are going very, very badly, which is why the Ukrainians are so desperate. What are you talking about? The Russians are running from Ukraine. Like, this is, it's the exact opposite of reality, right? So Tucker Carlson brings him on and McGregor's like, oh, the Russians are awesome, the Russians are winning. Oh, the Ukrainians terrible, right? Like, it's just over the top, total 100% Putin propaganda, okay? So, I mean, and
let me see, there are definitely clips of him saying that Putin is obviously a very bad person.
Alrighty, folks, almost
Okay, today is June 1st. Say your name and spell it.
I should try to find these.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Happy anniversary. This week marks the 7-month anniversary of the beginning of the war in Ukraine. Something that's still going on and isn't talked about quite as much anymore. So the day that war began, which was February 24th, two things...
Was he high in this? He looked pretty
were very obvious. The first was that there was no way the Ukrainian army would be able to win a decisive military victory over Russia. And the reason was simple. Russia is too big. Ukraine is too small. The Russian military is many times the size of the Ukrainian military. Plus, of course, it has nuclear weapons.
Isn't that exactly what Cenk Uygur just said Tucker Carlson was saying the opposite of? That's fucking hilarious. That's hilarious that just came up. I didn't even know that he... Well, there you go, bro. Cenk Uygur's full of shit.
Russia itself is the largest country on planet Earth. It's got a relatively huge economy for the region, and it's got 145 million people who live there. Ukraine has a population of about 40 million. It's the poorest country in Europe. It's got an average annual income that is much lower than Albania's.
With all that.
So just by looking at the most basic Wikipedia-level numbers, it was clear right away that if Ukraine wanted to remain a sovereign country, and of course all of us wanted that for Ukraine, Ukraine was going to have to reach some kind of negotiated settlement with Russia. Pitched battles were not going to do it. Now, that's not a moral judgment. You can root for the Ukrainian military all you want. But it's still a fact, and there's no getting around it. The second thing that was immediately evident about this war was how unusually destructive it was and was going to be. It wasn't just Ukraine that was getting pummeled, though it certainly was. It was the entire Western economy, including our economy. Russian energy fuels Europe. A recession in Germany was certain to lead to a recession here, and in the months since, it has, a bad one. The longer this war goes on, inevitably, the poorer everyone is going to be, with the exception probably of Vladimir Putin.
No, that's not the only explanation he gives for the recession here. Yeah, funny how apparently Democrats try to redefine the word recession too. That's fucking funny. I didn't even know. I'm not a fucking very literate person. I don't know any of that shit or what it means, but yeah, like yeah, he also believes, apparently they printed a lot of fake money to enrich themselves and then impoverish you. That would be on leaders. I guess the press secretary, he, of course, no shit, he would blame her for it. Yeah, I forgot her name, but like, yeah, he thinks that also has a thing to do with it. He pointed out Mexico doesn't have as bad of inflation as we do, for example, but yeah, either way, that's going on.
So we are breaking things that are very hard to rebuild. Again, this was very obvious the first day of the war. You weren't allowed to say it at the time. Anyone who did was denounced as a Russian spy, but it was still clearly true. And the Ukrainians certainly understood it. Back in April, according to an account in Foreign Policy magazine, negotiators from the governments of Russia and Ukraine met secretly and, quote, appeared to have tentatively agreed on the outlines of a negotiated interim settlement to end the war. The terms of the deal were simple. Russia would withdraw its troops from Ukraine. Ukraine would promise not to join NATO. So each side would get the thing that it wants most, simple and effective, and it might have worked. But the Biden administration adamantly opposed this settlement. Biden's advisors didn't just want the Russians to leave Ukraine. That's what they told us they wanted on television. But no. Biden's advisors wanted a total regime change war against Russia, apparently to avenge the election of Donald Trump, which they believed Putin was responsible for, and they were willing to fight to the last Ukrainian to get it. So on April 9th of this year, the White House dispatched its hapless cutout, then British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, to Kiev. According to Ukrainian news media, Johnson communicated two messages to the Zelensky government. Quote, the first is that Putin is a war criminal. He should be pressured, not negotiated with. And the second is that even if Ukraine is ready to sign some agreements on guarantees...
Yeah, that sounds like someone who would defend Cenk Uyghur's divisive Twitter feed. That's pretty funny.
Putin, the West is not. In other words, who cares what the Ukrainians want? America and the UK did a total war with Russia, regime change war. And of course, the Ukrainians, caught in the middle, had no choice but to concede. So days later, the peace negotiations fell apart. This was virtually unreported at the time, but it was the turning point in the war in Ukraine. This was the moment where the goal changed from restoring Ukraine to
Tucker's anti-war. This is just a consistent position, and I would actually agree with him. Yeah, if we have that opportunity, yeah, we should have taken that. Like, the fuck?
It was before the invasion, and that seems reasonable to
like,
everyone.
People are dying over this. Like, why are we going to be so fucking egotistical that we're like, oh, well, no, like, Putin, like, he's bad, so now we have to, like... fucking retarded.
In the West, to something very different. To a war designed to topple Vladimir Putin, just like we toppled Saddam Hussein, and then hoping for the best afterward. That is clearly insane and dangerous. But that's where we are. And from that point on, everything changed. And that is how we got to where we are today, which is the closest we have ever been to nuclear conflict in history. This week, President Zelensky of Ukraine gave an interview to the left-wing newspaper, The Guardian. And in it, he casually called for the United States.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what Cenk Uyghur was criticizing earlier. Because I see the same thing in it. But he probably didn't mention what he said earlier now, did he?
To nuke Vladimir Putin. Quote, the other nuclear states need to say very firmly that as soon as Russia even thinks of carrying out nuclear strikes on foreign territory, in this case the territory of Ukraine, swift retaliatory nuclear strikes to destroy the nuclear launch site.
Yeah, the nuclear launch site's good.
As soon as Russia even thinks of carrying out nuclear strikes, meaning before Russia actually...
Yeah. Okay, come on. Like, that's just sort of gay. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Even thinks. Like, that's... implying. Bro. Yeah, he's about to say something I'm guessing pretty gay, but yeah, destroying their nuclear sites, that's a completely different. Yeah, destroy those. Fucking. Especially if they carry out a nuke. Yeah, don't do it as soon as they think about it, but yeah, if they do it, yeah, I agree.
That's launches missiles, the U.S. needs to launch nuclear weapons against Russia.
Against their nuclear... Dude, that's just sort of bad framing.
In other words, we need to launch nuclear weapons now.
What?
Why now? And how do we know that?
Okay, so, yeah, I guess they're thinking about it right now. Alright. Dude, that's sort of a gay way to put it, but... Like... Yeah, I definitely think... Yeah, like, Vladimir Putin didn't nuke any place yet, did he? Like, he didn't send an atomic bomb anywhere.
That's what Zelensky meant, because Zelensky was responding to this warning from the Russian government on Wednesday.
Aren't nukes atomic bombs? I am that a little bit, by the way. Like, yeah, I think we'd have heard about it if he sent one of those down.
I want to remind you that...
I mean, to be fair, he sent a bomb, like, he bombed the fuck out of, like, an elementary school, and, like, hundreds died, so, that wasn't really talked about. Apparently, he also built trenches, like, Tucker Carlson should have talked about all that, too, but yeah, like, he's really one-sided on this.
Also has various means of destruction, and for separate components...
To be fair, I get in the fact that Zelensky apparently he jailed his political opponent, and like the U.S. is all vouching for him, and I guess like it's in favor of Ukrainians, but they are really like embracing someone who, like, yeah, if that's true that he jailed his political opponent, I completely agree, and no, you shouldn't do that. That's wrong. Unless his political opponent committed an actual crime, not a political crime, not a fucking free speech crime. I don't know what the context is, but like Tucker would have mentioned that if it was
Those of
something
NATO
that.
countries, and when the territorial integrity of our country is threatened to protect
To be
Russia
fair,
and our people.
I heard that the Brazilian person who was like, he mentioned the fact that he was previously a criminal, but I'm pretty sure that like he was in jail for like. I don't fucking know the whole story. I'm sure Tucker doesn't know the whole story. It's like, I don't fucking
We
know.
will
Dude.
certainly use all means at our disposal. It's not a bluff.
It's not a bluff, says Putin, who we are told is insane, so we probably should take it seriously. He is, after all, running a country with the largest nuclear arsenal on the planet. And he's talking about using nuclear weapons if the West continues to threaten Russia's territorial integrity. It's a conditional warning. And of course, threatening Russia's territorial integrity was never part of the deal, right? You remember this. It's why you wore a Ukrainian lapel pin or put a Ukrainian flag in front of your house. Ukraine was invaded. The point was to kick the Russians out. That seems reasonable by any standard of fairness and decency. But that's not what the Biden administration is pushing for. They're pushing for toppling the government of Russia, and once again, hoping that everything will be fine after, that someone better will somehow take over. He's bad, let's kill him. Heard that story before? So in response to what Putin just said, Ukraine's government called for an immediate nuclear...
I don't know anything about Saddam Hussein or whatever. I think he was a communist or whatever. I don't know anything
on Russia,
about
an attack that would, without question, result in the immediate destruction of New York, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, the deaths of tens of millions of Americans. That's what he just said. Sane people do not talk this way, ever. If there was a moment for the Biden administration to shut this whole thing down and force a negotiated peace, which they could do in an instant, that moment is right now, before huge numbers of people die.
Yeah, they probably
But that's
should
not
then.
what the Biden administration is doing. They're moving in the other direction at high speed and doing all they can to bring the West to the brink of destruction. At the UN yesterday, Joe Biden accused Russia, not Ukraine, of making overt nuclear threats. Watch.
This war is about extinguishing Ukraine's right to exist as a state. Plain and simple.
Calling Ukraine to the table. Russian troops leave. Ukraine promises not to join NATO. Everything is as it was in January of this year, and everything's fine. We don't have to worry about New York getting nuked.
Away with it.
Musician reading some paper, posturing like a cable news segment how Putin is bad. Yeah, great, got it. But sitting behind him in the shot you just saw is someone who is not a buffoon at all, and that would be Toria Nuland, one of the people responsible for the disaster in Iraq. Now, in a functioning country, anyone who had a hand...
Yeah, okay, like, I'll try to find a clip. Like, dude, it was probably, it was probably in the last clip I saw. What the fuck was it? Yeah. No, why didn't we see this coming? Yeah,
we don't.
I'm pretty sure in this he'll definitely confirm. Yeah, Putin is a bad person. Since, like, dude, I'm definitely not having really any viewers right now, and like, there's already a pretty long stream. I guess I'm just going to
don't know
finish
anything
watching
beyond what we
this.
just showed you. The pictures, a lot of pictures that we just put up. We don't know how this happened. We, of course, don't know where it's going. Nobody does. But Ben Hall is clearly right when he says this could be a legitimate disaster for Europe. But, of course, the invasion of Ukraine already is a legitimate disaster for Europe and the rest of the world. Europe just lost a huge percentage of its energy supply, which is not a small thing. We're all being reminded of that. So this situation appears to become more chaotic by the day. possibly even spinning out of control. And that, we must be honest, is shocking to us. We've been taken by surprise by the whole thing. We're not the only ones who were, but we're willing to admit it. The only thing more embarrassing than being wrong in your estimates is pretending that you weren't. So why didn't we see this coming, this total loss of control? Well, because we...
Yeah, he's been consistent with that, with the Iraq War, which I know nothing about, and with the red wave he predicted. He promised that he wouldn't make future predictions for candidates. Like,
assumed that if things were...
Like, he said, I will never make predictions like that again, because clearly I'm wrong.
Dire, serious people would be involved in fixing them. But we looked up and we saw Kamala Harris involved, and that reassured us. Harris had just come back from Europe, where she'd been conducting, quote, diplomacy with her allies, and that appeared to be proof this could not really be a big deal. The situation in Ukraine had been legitimately serious. If the future of Europe and the world hung in the balance, as now so obviously it does, of course, the Biden administration would not have sent Kamala Harris to fix it, because that's not her job. Kamala Harris's job is to trot down to the Blue Room periodically to greet delegations of TikTok influencers, or to cut occasional PSAs for the Children's Dental Health Awareness Month, which is in February, so we assume she'd be working on that right now. But averting war with Russia, saving the civilized world, that's absolutely not Kamala Harris's job. That was our assumption. But as noted, we were wrong. Why were we wrong? Well, we spend a lot of time watching Kamala Harris. You probably don't. Unless you are a junior producer at MSNBC, you're probably not that familiar with Kamala Harris. We should say, by the way, we didn't underestimate Vladimir Putin, we overestimated Joe Biden. But we knew that once Kamala Harris was involved, it couldn't really be that serious. And we knew that because this is what she's like.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
This whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't think
and my pronouns are she,
That's
her,
fucking
hers.
hilarious. She's such a character, dude.
she would look down at me and Kamala, what do you want?
That's
what do
so
you want?
fucking gay.
And I looked back up at her and I said, freedom!
Dude, she's such a cringe one. Oh my god.
Craters on the moon with your own eyes.
It's so AIDS, dude. Holy shit.
We must together work together to see where we are headed, but also see it as a moment, yes, to together.
It is the perspective of a woman who grew up a black...
Dude, no. Like, for that, we're gonna have to... What is this? Alright, bet.
Also see it as a moment, yes, to together.
It is the perspective of a woman who grew up a black child in America, who also has a mother who arrived here at the age of 19 from India.
Dude, we can't hear that too well. That it's not. I don't know. Let's put the volume down to that.
See the craters on the moon with your own eyes. With your own eyes, I'm telling you.
We must together work together to see where we are headed, but also see it as a moment, yes, to together.
It is the perspective of a woman who grew up a
Fuck, dude.
Folks, almost exactly a year ago, I went through some of
Oh my god. Alright.
Where we are headed, but also see it as a moment, yes, to together.
It is the perspective of a woman who grew up a black child in America, who was also a prosecutor, who also has a mother who arrived here at the age of 19 from India, who also,
folks,
you know,
almost exactly a year ago, I went through some of
Fucking
the
hell.
viral.
likes hip hop.
Fucking.
What do you want to know?
Yeah, dude. I know. Yeah, you're sort of stupid. Yeah, what do you want to know?
This is just not a serious person, not surrounded by serious people, and yet we're in an extremely serious moment that demands seriousness. Of course, we must together work together to see where we are going together, but also see it as a moment together. If you've taken peyote, you know what she means. Otherwise, you're probably baffled. Once again, it's time for us to do what we've been doing, and that time is every day. It's like a Khalil Gibran poem, but the illiterate version, impossible to parse. When Kamala Harris speaks, you get the feeling you're either too dumb or too smart to understand what she's saying, but then within a few sentences, you settle firmly on the latter. Your European allies
this is so great. I love
Less than 2 weeks ago, as all of this was brewing on the brink,
amazing.
The Biden administration sent that person, Kamala Harris, to represent the United States at the Munich Security Conference in Germany. And while she was there, she assured the world that she and Joe Biden had this situation completely under control. Yes, Putin would like to invade Ukraine. Of course he would. But not on her watch. Not while Kamala D. Harris was on the same continent. This continent known as Europe. No way. Harris exuded what novelists call a steely resolve. Imagine being first in line for a shoe sale on Black Friday. Kamala Harris had that look. She knew what she wanted and she knew where to find it. And here's how she expressed that resolve. And yes, this is a verbatim quote from the Munich Security Conference. Quote,
this is fucking amazing.
Perhaps this is a moment, as life does present us with those moments, that challenge us to ask, what is our reason for being? I think we all know the history of NATO and its reason for being. The spirit behind this term we use, the transatlantic community, the word community meaning a collection, not a collection of individuals who see themselves as a collection, then as one. And that's where we are now. So if the Vice President of the United States interrupts an adult security conference to talk like that, you conclude that whatever crisis they're talking about at the conference couldn't be imminent. They must have plenty of time to fix it, and that's why they could afford to send Kamala Harris in the first place. It's not as big a deal as it seems. Clearly, the White House might see European heads of state as equivalent to TikTok influencers. This is some kind of photo op. That's what we concluded. How could we not conclude that? And then there was this quote. The day after Kamala Harris said the words we just read, talked about her reason for being. The day after she said that, she explicitly encouraged Ukraine to join NATO.
Fuck yeah.
Quote, I appreciate and admire President Zelensky's desire to join NATO. She said that at a press event.
Yeah, but he told his.
And we saw that and we thought, obviously the Biden people must have this under control in some way we don't know about. They must have some secret back channel to Putin. They must have been fully assured that saying something so unbelievably inflammatory is not going to push Putin to invade Ukraine. We assume that. I mean, how could it be otherwise? It's the United States. It's a real country. The idea that Ukraine might join NATO obviously caused this crisis in the first place, whatever you think of it. We know, because we've watched for years, the more Western leaders pushed the idea of Ukraine and NATO, the closer Russians came to invading Ukraine. It's not a defense of that, it's an observation of it. That's true. So obviously no sane person would say something like that with Russian troops massed on the Ukrainian border. You'd have to want an invasion of Ukraine to say something like that. And at the time, we didn't think they did want that. So we got it completely wrong. And honestly, we've continued to get it wrong ever since. We assume that once Kamala Harris humiliated the United States in Munich and jeopardized its core interests, that maybe her boss, Joe Biden, would realize maybe borders aren't her thing. Maybe if you want to keep the border between two countries from being violated, maybe you don't send Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris believes borders are racist or something. So obviously it's pretty hard for her to protect borders. So it was always a strange personnel choice. Biden's been around a while. You think you know?
That's sort of like trying to be base, but to be fair, yeah, immigrant isn't a race. I'm sort of white and here to prove that. Yeah, I'm an immigrant. I'm legal, but yeah, I'm an immigrant. Are you saying that Tucker hates white people? Or is immigrant not a race? Like, yeah, that's true.
Oh, the key.
Like, people tend to just like this trauma and nationalists as just racists. Well, nationalism, as much as I, for example, disagree with it, is like just fucking it's based on practical means. Like, we're better sovereign nations, and we can't take the world's misery on our shoulders, especially if we're a great country like the United States. That's a first world country surrounded by some border countries that are third world, semi-third world, like Mexico. that'd be second, but I don't know what the fuck that is. I haven't never heard that for some reason. But yeah, why don't we talk about second world countries? Like, I guess that's not, yeah, Mexico's a second world country, I guess. Fuck. Dude, I'm so fucking high. It's like, yeah, nationalism sort of goes, yeah, we can't, like, we have a duty only towards the people in our nation, and, yeah, we must do whatever is best for our nation, because, like, every country is responsible for their own bunch of people, and honestly, if we had just one fucking huge nation, if that nation went fascist, well, there wouldn't really be other nations to keep it in check now, would there? I've never heard him make that argument, but I think that's definitely a good argument you could make. But, yeah, not every nation is equal in its dedication and its devotion to enforcing the human rights of its people, nor in how much it has the capabilities to, nor in how much it's willing to devote whatever resources it has to action, like ensuring their citizens' human rights. So it is segregation by country to some extent, but yeah, like to frame it as straight up racism when it is practical implications, like, that's just disingenuous, in my opinion.
Key to good management is matching the person with the job. Not everybody's good at everything. So if you're looking for someone to date Montel Williams, well, maybe she's the person you would choose. She could be a solid choice that she's done it before. Dating Montel Williams, you know, is something that's within her range of experience. Is she good at it? We can't say, but she's done it. But this new gig, de-escalating a world-ending conflict with a nuclear-armed rogue state? No. No. Not when nuclear reactors are on fire.
That's fucking hilarious.
But they're doing it anyway. Humiliating our country, jeopardizing our safety and the future of the world.
I fucking love how he'll say that. Like, he goes fucking mask off. And, like, yeah, you think CNN would let him say stuff like that because, well, it's his opinion and, well, he should have the right to say that if he wants to. Yeah, maybe that's why Tucker trusts Fox News so much more.
Harris is now the point person on Ukraine. In Diplospeak, she's got the Ukraine portfolio. What's she doing with that portfolio? Well, starting at the beginning, explaining things to the American public. If the world economy is going to collapse, and you're no longer going to be able to afford meat for dinner.
Yeah, she's going to explain, we should go together to be together and do that together.
If Europe's not going to have power, you should probably know why. And it has nothing to do, they assure you, with the criminal negligence of people like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. No, it's because of a place called Ukraine. Listen.
Break it down in layman's terms for people who don't understand what's going on and how can this directly affect the people of the United States.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
If you are patronizing
she's not
people
very smart,
to that degree in the middle of a crisis this serious, you should not be in a position of leadership. Translation, I've never read a book in my second life. I'm assuming you have an idea. Ukraine is a country in Europe, right? Okay, following you, Kamala Harris. Can you imagine? Watching this, maybe you're starting to understand what the whole point of this administration is. It's the equity agenda. And under the terms of that agenda, only the least capable are allowed to assume positions of authority in the United States. It's government by the dumbest. That's how Pete Buttigieg, a guy who can barely drive his own car, wound up in charge of all of our roads.
This is fucking
And so
epic.
all these people got their jobs. It was intentional. Now, Washington has worked this way to some extent for a long time. It's just that under this president, the principle has reached its horrifying but logical endpoint. The last president hired Michael Cohen to be his personal lawyer. But the difference is Donald Trump didn't make Michael Cohen the Attorney General of the United States. Biden absolutely would do that as long as Cohen was transgender. And you know that. So it shouldn't surprise you, though it should horrify you and make you nervous, that according to the Hill newspaper, Kamala Harris is going back to Europe.
True. Like, yeah, didn't he hire Kamala Harris specifically for being black?
You see how much worse she can make this disaster.
Because
She'll be heading to Warsaw, Poland, and Bucharest, Romania to, quote, show solidarity with Ukraine, which means to badly damage key American interests in inventing new ways.
I don't know anything about Kamala Harris beyond, like, the clips I watched Tucker like bring of her, because like I don't know, she like I don't really care about her, but yeah, it seems she's pretty
you
stupid.
haven't yet imagined. That's what's going on. A crisis that gets more grave by the day, whose ramifications are clearly more serious than anyone expected, overseen by people who have no wisdom or foresight or restraint, and fundamentally don't have the interests of our country at heart when they make their decisions. And Kamala Harris isn't the only problem, but she's the most glaring symbol of it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Yeah, dude, I am just so fucking high, but yeah, he definitely mentioned at some point. I'll also link that in the description if I can find it. But Tucker did also say, yeah, Putin is definitely a bad person. Like, he is. I agree with him. Tucker said that. I'll try to find those two clips if I can find them. I'll probably fucking forget, but whatever.
And I think there's some percentage chance that's Tucker saying, hey, if I do run, Russians, you know who's your boy, and you remember what you did last time. Give me a lot more of that, okay?
I really wished I had the clip offhand of Tucker Carlson saying, yeah, Vladimir Putin is evil. Like that I could just play that fucking emoji music again. I will try finding that and making a compilation of just all this stuff and just call it Shankugo is a moron. Let me just write this down before I forget it. I think there is no better title. I think that's about as clickbaity as the average title he has and as his average content, so.
I'll be even better than Trump in handing the country over to you. But in that segment where he said...
Nonsense, he hasn't... And he's endorsed Trump since.
You know, he called out...
He stood with McCarthy, probably to
Pete Kellogg, who, by the way, was acting national security advisor for Donald Trump. He was totally right. Kellogg's an idiot.
Like, yes, I think the Humanist Report, that's the video I got that from. Like, yeah, when he got mentioned, who are you vouching for? The sentence to Trump. Like, he sort of leaned in the direction, like, he sort of said, yeah, I don't really want to be involved in it. But he pointed out all the great things that Trump did. So.
And a disaster. What do you mean? He said, we have to, referring to the Russians, we have to put them in threat. Why?
It's like Tucker Carlson would definitely not run against Trump if Trump tells him to stand down. Tucker will stand down. Like, and I will, if I make that prediction, high as fuck as I am, and if I get that wrong, yeah, I will fucking apologize for it.
Why? And he's like, so that they don't...
If y'all point out that I said that, if I forget, like, yeah, I will fucking apologize.
Don't threaten us. Really, is that how wars work? If you threaten someone else, they then cower away? No, 100% of the time, when you threaten them, they threaten you, okay?
Wait, isn't that exactly what Tucker was pointing out about Biden in his, like, sort of, like, defense of not aggravating Putin? Like, isn't the bag in... On the Bosnia bag?
Okay, so, and Tucker's right, that anyone who had a hand in those last 5 wars should never be in government again. Never, none of them. Republicans, Democrats, etc. But
he just said maybe you should get your mouth out of the conversation in the next one. That's what he said, I remember. Like, just strawmanning so fucking hard. This guy is especially good at poisoning the world, but yeah. Say this guy is not, and he debates better than Sam Cedar. So, like, why does he stick to the disingenuous talking points? Like, can't you do your research? You already saw you were wrong once, I guess, since you switched political parties. You went from Republican to Democrat. Can't you at least not make up just bad fucking talking points and then spew them and not even fact check yourself?
Using it as a way to rile up false populism, and at the end of the day, what's he gonna do? He's gonna...
What do you say? Like, he literally said, I'm pretty sure at some point, Chen Kuger said, yeah, I'm a left-wing populist. and right-wing populism is for suckers, but like I'm a left-wing populist. It's like, wait, I'm so high. Let me hear, what did he say?
As a way to rile up false populism. And at the end of the day, what's he gonna do? He's gonna give tax cuts to the rich. That's the only thing they care about. But we are
Tucker isn't even a
fair
fucking
and honest.
populist, by the way, you retard. And you wanna have proof of that? Is Tucker in favor? Apparently, like he just said some recently, but like in the debate with you, I'm pretty sure he said no, I'm not in favor of free healthcare. There you go. Healthcare, one of the most popular systems in the country. Well, is he rallying up saying, yeah, I'm for healthcare. We should all have free, affordable healthcare. Like he only mentioned that like once apparently. Yeah, I think I remember him saying something along those lines. But like he's not adamantly like I feel like he's not really fucking going in favor of that. Yeah, like Tucker Carlson's a populist. Fucking my ass, dude.
And that commentary about how Kellogg is an idiot is actually totally
like he literally makes a joke out of that when Will Kane asks him, like he's like, most people, what would they want to ask you? Why won't you go away, right? It's like, yeah, it doesn't sound like something a populist would say to those people.
Yeah. 100%. It is true. And the general principle, you shouldn't listen to these people. Just bear in mind that Tucker Carlson
Yeah, but you should listen to Cenk Uygur. That's fucking
will
hilarious.
support these people in all levels of government. Maybe not Kellogg specifically, but whoever Trump chooses and initiates wars, Tucker Carlson will be running defense for him. That's what he'll be doing. If Ron DeSantis, sells tons of weapons to Saudi Arabia to bomb the Yemenis, Tucker Carlson's probably not going to have a big problem with it. He's certainly not going to turn on him.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate.
This was just so fucking bad. Yeah. What a fucking conspiracy theorist. Like, that's fucking hilarious. Well, okay. Moderation, shut the fuck up. I don't do any moderation. Okay. Dude. Okay, cackles, have a speech, likes a beauty pageant contestant when asked a question. Yeah, like, yeah, I know, that's so fucking true. Yeah, like, she's just fucking stupid. She's just brain dead. Like, she smoked too much weed. She's even stupider than fucking me, and I'm not even joking about that. She only got where she is because who's Willie Brown's side chick. That's fucking hilarious if that's true. My brain just folded in on itself. On the verge of calling her president. Yeah, like, I know what you're agreeing with, but, like, dude, this motherfucker legit got appointed for being black, didn't she? Like, isn't that fucking true? Didn't she get appointed for being black? Yeah. She acts like she's speaking to elementary students because that is how it had to be explained to her. She was running late as a favor for Obama. Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. Yeah, TYT is fucking just retarded. Like, they're just so bad. Like, everything they will say on Tucker Carlson, it's just, they're just, like, just full of shit, honestly. I don't know if they're lying. Because, like, Cenk Uygur, he always assumes, the first thing he says on Tucker Carlson, whenever he talks about him, or anybody like that, even Ben Shapiro, like, oh, just fake point of view, fake point of view. These people are just lying to you. They know what they're saying is not true. Well, he debated Tucker Carlson, and he didn't really press a lot on, like, Tucker Carlson even objected to being a populist. When, like, Cenk Uygur constantly says, yeah, you're a populist. If Donald Trump told Cenk Uygur in a debate with him, hey, by the way, no, I'm not a Republican. I just ran on that party because it was, like, the best way for me to get elected. Cenk Uygur would probably press him on that. Hey, wait, no, you are a Republican, aren't you? Like, look at your policies. They're Republican. Like, they align with the Republican Party. But, yeah, Tucker said that, and that person didn't give a shit. So yeah, she's Indian and Jamaican. What in the fuck? That's hilarious. Dude, what was... I got 5 people at some point. Wow, I've never gotten 5 people. That's amazing. What? Yeah, that whole thing with the gray replacement theory. That's also funny. Like, they are blatantly fucking wrong about that.
It's all fake. $2.59. Other platforms.
The left.
So yeah, no one's getting replaced. Immigrants aren't gonna replace anybody. In fact, like, yeah, we've been a place of them. Like, I completely disagree with Tucker Carlson's gray replacement theory. I wouldn't be surprised if already on this in this live stream I'd already debunked it and like said, yeah, like this isn't happening. But yeah, I get Tucker's point, and one point that he brought up at some point, which, yeah, like, if he cares about this, I think that is very relevant. Like, the Biden administration keeps sticking to the script. There are 10 million illegal immigrants. 10 million undocumented illegal immigrants. Like, that's not an oxymoron. And according to Tucker, oh, well, there should be more, like, 20 million, and he gives pretty, damning evidence for that. And, like, I don't think that's a problem, but, like, Tucker has practical reasons, not racial reasons. Immigrant isn't a race. I'm sort of white and an immigrant here to prove that. Yeah, he has practical reasons for being a nationalist. Not a racist, a nationalist. And, yeah, he believes when the Biden administration is all of a sudden giving amnesty to, like, 20 million people, and they're just assuming the number is 10 million when it, like, Tucker is, like, legitimate reasons to assume it should be closer to 20 million. And he always assumes, like, he said this before, he just believes that the Democratic Party, like, they are inherently just, like, he believes basically in an Illuminati type Democratic Party. He believes, yeah, it's your leaders who just don't have your best interests at heart, and they're just spreading propaganda, and it's just, like, fucking college students who have empty personal lives who are just feeding into that shit, and the government is just testing you to see how much you'll feed into it, and, well, they'll make sure to, like, fucking sort of terrorize you into complying by just, like, sometimes arresting some people, as Tucker mentioned sometimes, for not complying, and also just throwing at you, you're disgusting, you're a horrible person, making that moral argument. If you don't agree with me, you're just a horrible person, you're just racist, you're just a fascist, like, all that stuff that's being thrown at conservatives. Like, it's really like calling socialists communists, basically, like, just saying you're racist because you're a nationalist. Like, that stuff is thrown at him all the time, and it's no surprise that he would since he thinks that the Democratic Party always has ulterior motives and that they're never genuine. He said that's his position on the Democratic Party, that they are fundamentally not based on anything that's genuine. They're just a propaganda arm. Like, yeah, it would be consistent for him to think, well, why are they doing this? And it's like, well, of course, if you bring in a lot of people, especially if you give them amnesty, well, which party are they more likely to be? And he's also, like, he hasn't even gone that wrong, so he doesn't have to apologize for it. But he's always said, by the way, they are wrong about that, because if you look at the studies, these people, they prefer Donald Trump over Joe Biden. And he's been very vocal about that. Look up, for example, let me just look this up. What's it called? Yeah, like in this video, he points out the fact that, oh, Democrats may think that, like, according to Tucker, Democrats may think that, like, these immigrants are just gonna be all just brain dead people who are just going to prescribe to their ideology. But actually they're wrong. Like, they might be trying to give them amnesty because they're hoping that in turn they'll be obedient towards them. But actually they're wrong about that. Because look at the data. Mexicans are more in favor of Donald Trump than, say, Joe Biden. So Tucker has pointed that out. But his argument would go more like, yeah, I'd imagine if, whether or not when you are trying to run from the drug cartels, there is a party that is in favor of just abandoning you and telling you, well, you were born too far away from our country, like, you have to be born in our country, so we don't consider your human rights. When there's one party that tells you that, and the other party that says, yeah, we'll take you in, it would make sense for you to just be prone to favor and to like defend the party that is that advocates for you being allowed to stay here versus for you being deported. That would just make sense. And Tucker's going off of that assumption. Tucker's saying, yeah, we have practical reasons to not want them in. We're just not focusing on the moral argument. We're focusing on, well, if we bear the world's misery on our shoulders, which might very well seem like the right thing to do, well, we'll get part 2, and then we won't even have the resources. If we bear the world's misery on our shoulders before taking care of our own misery, we won't have the resources, and we won't be strong enough to be able to help people to reach, to be able to keep helping other countries, say. So we should, like, be reasonable and take our country's best interest first, our people first and foremost, and then the others if we have more left over. And to that I would say, well, immigrants are actually good for the economy. They put more into, say, social security than they take out. They actually commit crimes at half the rate that like native-born Americans do. So I disagree with all that, but it's to no surprise that he would think, yeah, the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate because they don't like that people like Donald Trump were able to take power, so they're trying to forcefully take power back, and that's their ulterior motive behind, yeah, the, like, being pro-immigration. They don't care about these people's humanitarian rights, which would fall with what Tucker Carlson said. Like, that's pretty much a quote from him. Like, the Democratic Party is never genuine. They always have ulterior motives. Like, and they don't care about their country's best interests. Like, they're just a propaganda arm, basically. It would just align with what Tucker said there. It would just be consistent. Like, yeah, he would fall for such hoaxes because he just always assumes, well, why are they for, say, giving amnesty to the Dreamers? And it's like, I think it's a very relevant, piece of information that, like, these people, they aren't being given amnesty, like, overnight. For, like, they've been in the United States for a long time. They've had time to ingrain themselves into the culture. Now, Tucker does bring up a great point. I've known a lot of these people who will have lived in the United States for, say, 20 years, and they'll still only speak Spanish. And Tucker makes a point. Yeah, we should demand one thing specifically. He said that in the Cenk Uygur Tucker Carlson debate. We should demand that they speak our language. And I would say that we should have no demands that they like integrate themselves into our culture. Like, you don't owe society anything just for being born in it. That's my justification for, like, being against taxes. Like, you don't owe the world any favors. Like, your parents are responsible for training you to be a good person. The government should just be responsible for making sure you don't commit abuse. And yeah, like consensual agreements such as contracts, which are meant to give consent, like, that is not abuse. That is like on the spectrum abusive, like beneficial and neutral. Like, that is neutral. So yeah, that's my argument that I would say with that. Like, they choose to come here. It's like, the world doesn't belong to anyone. We're all born on this world. You can't say, yeah, this is our America, and then say you have the God-given right. Like, did you earn this? Like, did you earn being in America? Like, the whole premise behind America, what most people believe in at least, and most people defend, should be meritocracy. And like, like, if you have competition with Mexicans for business, this is good for business, maybe not good for the middle class of people who were born in America, but I think the middle class extends to people who are possibly illegals. Like, they should have the right to integrate themselves into the middle class of America if they want to. Like, why? Trespassing public property, that's what they've done. That's why they shouldn't have the right to be here. Like, okay, that's sort of stupid in my opinion, but yeah, like I definitely think if these Mexicans, they come and they just have a better work ethic, probably because they've seen the horrors of the country they were running from, and they know what, like, they have an incentive to want to live better now that they're given the opportunity to, like, like, yeah, definitely they'll have a better work ethic. It makes sense if these people take the jobs of, say, working Americans because they're just better, they have a better work ethic. I think that's meritocracy at play. I don't think they're, like, stealing the job of an American. Like, no, they just like, you just have to be better. That's meritocracy. It's good for business. In fact, I don't know why conservatives aren't on board with illegal, and especially illegal, immigration, because it gives them an opportunity to avoid the government trying to steal their money. I say, you make the salary, you make the terms, because you are the one paying the salary. You should get to be the only one who chooses what you are using your money to pay for. You're paying for it. You should get to choose the salary and the terms. And if someone doesn't like the terms of that salary, they can go somewhere else. And yeah, minimum wage is saying, yeah, this is your salary, you're the one paying for it, but we'll tell you how much you pay, and we'll tell you who to employ. So it's theft because it's not your money, and you're enforcing that people pay that. So that is theft. I'm against that. But yeah, illegal immigration would give them a chance to do a loophole in that, and I'm for tax loopholes. I'm for loopholes in that too. Like, let these people come. They can't get a job anywhere else. Like, you're gonna have some minimum wage. You're gonna employ them specifically because you can employ them below minimum wage, or at least that's gonna give them a job. And you might be an asshole for employing specifically illegal immigrants for that reason and giving them, like, I think companies should be less of assholes and try to employ illegal immigrants and give them, like, high wages specifically because they need them. I think that's how they should approach it. But yeah, I completely disagree with Tucker's approach, but I see where he's coming from. It's not from a racial angle. Again, nationalism isn't racist, but, like, he just assumes the worst of intentions from the Democratic Party. They definitely do tend to assume the worst intentions when they criticize him, as I've seen a lot of people throughout my live streams criticize him on YouTube. They always just assume the worst intentions. That's also a point I bring up against the Democrats criticizing him. But with those two in mind, it's very understandable why he would prescribe to, say, the Great Replacement theory. It only makes sense. But in any case, that's just
the left and all the little gatekeepers on Twitter become literally hysterical if you use the term replacement. If you suggest that the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. But they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. Let's just say it, that's true. So,
and they, like, I disagree with them, but it would make sense. Like, I mean, if one party of people, one group of people, they are the ones who represent, like, who stand for showing you enough empathy to allow you, especially if you're struggling as illegal immigrants are, to like, if they represent telling you, hey, we have the basic empathy to recognize you as a human, whether or not you were born here. Yeah, we recognize that you are more marginalized just for the fact that you were born elsewhere, and that's wrong. And, like, which party are you more likely to stand for? Like Tucker's assumption that the Democratic Party is making this assumption, it only makes intuitive sense. And like he also doesn't believe that, as he points out in this video. I'm not gonna watch it because then I'm just gonna go off on a tangent. But like he mentions, by the way, they're wrong. Immigrants tend to be a lot of them are pro-Trump, so you're just fucking retarded. Because he thinks the great replacement theory is coming from the left. Of course, that's why he talks about it.
This matters on a bunch of different levels, but on the most basic level, it's a voting rights question. In a
Yeah, did he say it's a racial question? No, he said it's a voting rights question, not racially.
Democracy.
Like, no racial implications here. I don't know where you're getting the racist from. Are you getting it from Charlottesville that happened before Biden's amnesty bill because Biden wasn't fucking president yet?
One person equals one vote. If you change the population, you dilute the political power of the people who live there. So every time they import a new voter, I become disenfranchised as a...
And I feel like, dude, America's a pretty big country, right? Like, how many people? I guess there's sort of an argument there with the fact that southern states tend to be like more like against immigration. They tend to be more Republican, and that's where the migration is gonna come to. Like, I guess there's an argument there. Like, the red states are the ones in the south, and they're the ones whose populations might be getting replaced. So I guess that would be a point, but it's like, again, like, what less rights do these people have to come? And I guess like they do have different cultures if they were voting more for Democrats, but they aren't.
Current voter. So I don't understand.
But I get why he sees malicious intentions from that, since he's against illegal immigration, and he's just like, he just takes the stance. Yeah, the Democratic Party, like, they are always ill-intended. Like, that's sort of the stance he has publicly taken. And it's like, so he's assuming that the Democratic Party, they aren't concerned about the well-being of these other people. And you could see it with Martha's Vineyard. When Ron DeSantis sent in migrants from his state, which, if you don't know, Florida is pretty condescending towards migrants. Wouldn't it be good for migrants who came in to that place, to Florida, illegally, like, just instead of sending them back, maybe to be murdered by the drug cartels, maybe that's why they were fleeing to, say, Florida. Yeah, instead of sending them back to be murdered by the drug cartels, we just send them up in the north, where they are supposedly more well accepted, where they're treated by more humanitarian standards. Well, the right didn't respond by saying, yeah, thank you. In fact, we'll show the example. Like, y'all were saying, oh, we can't bear the misery of the world on our shoulders. Bullshit. This is a humanitarian crisis, and yeah, keep sending us more. We'll deal with them. We'll show you that, yeah, we can. We'll take the moral high ground here. That's not what they did. They accused DeSantis of being a human trafficker. Okay, so if you say transport people from inside your country to say outside your country, that's, oh well, that's, I guess that's mad. That's deportation. You deport them from inside your country where they are sort of not very well respected, like, for say, like, I guess that's a reputation Florida overall has. I haven't been there, like, in a long time. Definitely don't know the culture there, but yeah, you deport them back into, you just deport them back into the hands of, like, maybe the drug cartels who are going to murder them. Yeah, I'd rather that than, I'd rather be humanly trafficked over to a place that supposedly is more inclusive of me and, like, is more welcoming, than be deported back possibly into the hands of my murderers. So yeah, I guess the Democratic Party with Martha's Vineyard did show its true colors on that. It seems that on large scales, like, yeah, the elites, they maybe don't care that much about third-class concerns. I guess, like, some of these illegal immigrants are legit like third class if they aren't even allowed to come back here. Like they live in a third world country if they aren't allowed to come here.
Understand why we don't understand this? I mean, everyone wants to make a racial issue out of it. Ooh, the white replacement theory. No.
Yes, no.
This is a voting rights question.
Of course, whenever Tucker Carlson and Fox News does something racist, they immediately say, "Well, no."
Yeah, not actually going to his argument. Now, imagine if you didn't assume a fake point of view. You just assumed. You know why conservatives hate like critical race theory so much? Because they hate the idea that like at least people who conservatives will accept. Like, yeah, we can extend our empathy to those people. Now, everybody has lines. Like, I've always noticed this. Like, if in school we had news, like we'd watch CNN's 2 News for. Like, legit in 2 separate classes that I went in high school, if we would learn, like, at some point that, like, oh, yeah, there was, like, this shooting that happened, like, a few cities across from us, and, like, 2 people were injured, like, one of them even died. And, like, oh, by the way, in New Zealand, there was, like, this shooting of, like, 31 people died or some shit. It's like, everybody, Republican or Democrat, will tend to just care so much more about, like, less people that because it's closer to them. At least Republicans will just admit that bias and they'll try to defend it and they'll cross that line with, oh well, this country, because like we sort of hold these values in our country. And like thing is, if immigrants are coming into this country over their country, clearly they like our values more than their country's values, at least that. And good chances they'll come here and ingrain themselves into our values, because democracy, that's like the values of the people are our values. That's the message. But Cenk Uygur is just assuming a fake point of view with everybody. Like, he always does that with anybody that disagrees with him, because he's just a panderer. And, dude, if you just assumed that most people, since most people are good people, most people are well-meaning, that's why, like, we are social, we tend to see the best in others and want the best for them. That's why, that's one of the main reasons why us humans were able to, like, we didn't build this society individually. It was a collaborative effort, and, like, that's the whole movement with democracy, trying to make it even more social and collaborative, instead of everyone for themselves, because our species just works better that way. Well, that extends to extending our empathy, seeing that, well, we are well-meaning. It's not like when we go around, like, some people are assholes, like, we tend to assume, oh, well, yeah, like, we're just the good people, and, like, these people, they're just all assholes who just have bad intentions, and, like, know what they're doing is evil, and just enjoy being evil. It's like, that's two, like, one is a good, trait of human instincts. One is a like good case of human instincts, having empathy and just meaning well in general, wanting the best for people. Most humans are that way. And another trait is like our like downside would be we tend to not be able to extend our empathy, say, to people who we can't really empathize with because we don't know them on a personal level, and we tend to, like, that's why racism is a thing. Like, people who look different from us, people who appear in different ways different from us. That's why people with different political ideologies, a lot of the time, like, I'm pretty sure, like, Protestant versus Catholic, like, they pretty much had a full-fledged fucking war, like, in France or whatever. Like, lots of people fucking died in there, over political ideology. I mean, over religious ideology. Like, people just don't tend to like people who think differently from them, and they tend to like to assume fake point of views. Well, maybe you should think about this logically. Remember, fact over feeling, you claim, oh yeah, the Republican Party's saying they're standing for that, which, like I mentioned, that is true in terms of the capitalist versus socialist question, which is the foundations of like Republican versus Democrat. Yeah, like, conservatives are in that regard fact over feeling, but like by definition. But yeah, you're claiming that. Well, prove to us that you're fact over feeling. Go ahead and what the fuck was
it's not about race.
Yeah, like, prove to us that you're not fact overfilling and give us. Dude, I legit have to go back. Why would he be saying it at all if, like, worst intentions when they criticize him? I guess that would be a point, but I'd rather be humanly trafficked. Okay. I guess that would be a point, but dude, no. Good trait of human. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, yeah, I think if he just used his fucking logic and realized, yeah, most people are good people, and I tend to assume a lot of just stupidity and fake points of views with everybody else, but just not me. And it's like, yeah, if you didn't just assume, oh yeah, everybody who's right wing, they're either stupid or like they're just propagandists. If you assume that people are overall good people who have good intentions and that should apply to all groups evenly, and even in some groups where like you might see some like overall most people qualify that way, including Americans. That's why Americans hate it so much, especially conservatives, because they will at least admit, unlike Democrats who just won't give any recognition to their biases. And not being able to empathize as much with people who live far away. At least conservatives will recognize that and try to defend it and put the line at, yeah, our borders. Yeah, if you're born within our border, well, you shouldn't have human rights. Sorry. You should have your other nations' human rights. Say Mexico. Just go with the Mexican dream. I'm sorry. Just whatever that is. If that exists, yeah, just that's what you have. And of course I disagree with that, but how about you have some human empathy and recognize that yeah, Tucker Carlson's probably just a good person who disagrees with you. And if you frame the like your way of thinking, if you're gonna bother, especially on a huge channel like yours, addressing someone, especially that frequently, maybe you should bother to put in the effort of trying to go with criticizing them from a productive lens, which would be, let's assume that they don't have a fake point of view, because most people don't. What would be a reasonable, like, what would be a, like, plausible approach? Like, and if you can't come to a plausible approach of what could his mindset be, assuming that he doesn't have a fake point of view, at least try to analyze it from that perspective. At least dedicate a video to how it makes no sense that he might just not have a fake perspective. Try to break down genuinely what could be his motivations behind this. How could like, do you even watch his videos? Like, you just said so many times, oh yeah, he would never apologize for it. Yeah, he has. He's made videos on Putin. He's made videos on. He has apologized for all of these things. The Iraq War. He's apologized. The bad prediction of the red wave when there was no red wave. He apologized and he said, "I am embarrassed by that. I'm never making another prediction on such issues again. Never." Chen Cougar, you're sort of full of shit, dude. Alright, let's go back to that.
They're replacing us as voters. Okay, well, who is they? Well, he says, well,
the Democratic Party, who's like endorsing legal immigration and the Biden amnesty bill. You know, the thing that happened after Charlottesville. Fucking retard.
It's not about race, so what? I guess it's about political ideology. But how do you know what their political ideology is?
Well, sort of, because they tell you, and they are the Democrats. It's like you're sort of being moronic here, pretending you don't know. Yeah, when Tucker says they, he always means the Democrats. If you watch him, you'd know that.
So the only thing you know about them is where they're coming from. And here.
Yeah, and you know where they're coming from because they tell you. They actually, and he tends to point towards the Biden administration. He often accuses Biden of not even knowing what he's talking about and just being therefore the perfect candidate for Democrats because they could just get him to say whatever he wants. And he's now making the argument they're trying to throw him off the stage and kick him with all this like bad document stuff because they think he's served his purpose and now he's just becoming demented and just saying things we don't want him to say and it's like bad for our party or something. Like he says, yeah, he fundamentally believes the Democratic Party is heartless. And yeah, like when he says they, just think of the Illuminati and the Democratic Illuminati Party. Okay, just if you're gonna make fun of him, just say that. Say, oh, he's talking about the Illuminati left. Okay, just at least be genuine and say that instead of, oh, is he talking about the Jews? He's probably talking about the Jews, bro. He's saying the Jews are trying to replace you, bro. I wonder if that's actually what he's gonna say, dude. I wonder.
Think about it this way: if you're a Republican and you're truly not racist, wouldn't you think, "Oh, good, those are more potential voters for us"?
Yeah, and he does think that. Now that he's mentioning this, I fucking have to see this.
If you're an IT professional, we'll show you how to make $250K a year, 100%.
This is hilarious.
Donald J.
It got me straight
America
to that.
is like-minded neighbors. Hispanics despise Joe Biden too.
Let's fucking go, dude. This is. I'm gonna have to play so many. Dude, I might make a compilation of this.
Well, why don't you think that? Republican, and you're truly not racist. And here, think about it this way: if you're a Republican and you where they're coming from.
Wait.
So the only thing you know about them is where they're coming from.
I guess so.
Across the southern border, looking for a better life in Mexico. At this rate, the next stop will be Port-au-Prince. See what you self-described Latinos. That's right. The preferred candidate for 2024, 4%. That's his lowest among any demographic group. Meanwhile, as of tonight, guess who's the preferred candidate for 2024 among self-described Latinos? That's right. The Taco Bowl guy, Donald J. Trump. Let that sink in for a second. Donald Trump, supposedly the most anti-Hispanic racist this country's ever produced, that man is far more popular among actual Hispanics than a cringing white liberal like Joe Biden. So the guy who tried to build a border wall is loved. The guy who uses the words Latinx, non-ironically, is hated.
And here, think about it this way: if you're a Republican and you're truly not racist, wouldn't you think, "Oh, good, those are more potential voters for us"? Well, why don't you think that? You don't think that because they're not white.
We sent a camera to Ocasio-Cortez's congressional district and found that, you won't be surprised to hear, it is filled with garbage.
All right, folks, almost exactly a year ago, I went through some of my most...
Cenk Uygur is just such a fucking clown, dude. Holy shit.
Litter and trash piled in public parks, on the sidewalks that have been overtaken by the homeless, etc., etc., etc. How can someone who claims to care about the environment so much he's going to ban air travel represent a district this dirty? So, Seth, we're connoisseurs of irony on the show.
Yeah,
but if you claim...
I disagree with them on the issue of homelessness. I definitely don't think they're overtaking it. It's like they're actually more like victims, I would say. But yeah, I think this is a great place to conclude this stream. Like, this is just getting fucking long, I guess. How long have I been streaming for? By the way, we need to have it standard for whom is flooding over our border with the rise of the cartels. Yeah, and by the way, Greg Gutfeld recently changed my opinion on this. I always thought, oh well, yeah, someone's just buying fucking fentanyl, and like, you know how easy it is to overdose on fentanyl, and it's like, yeah, Cenk is fucking retarded, but it's like, yeah, I always thought, oh well, these people, they're just choosing to OD on fentanyl, and it's like, they want to be retarded and kill themselves, like, take them out of the gene pool, fucking go for it. If they legit want to do that, and they aren't even trying, it's like, but apparently no, like, it's been cut into pills and stuff, and it's like, the people who are, like, bringing in the people who are taking whatever they're taking that's cut with fentanyl, they aren't choosing to OD on fentanyl, so it's like poison, so... Yeah, that's a big difference to me. I think that's a very big difference, and it's like, yeah, that should be considered, but
Yeah, not like again. It's sort of like influence. I heard the argument because they have a ton of immigrants from like the Middle East, and it's like some of them might be terrorists, and it's like we're bringing terrorists in here, and it's like again, like most immigrants are not going to be that way, and it's like most immigrants might actually be running from these drug cartels. So I'm guessing that like that would be not sure. By the way, we need with the rise of cartels, there are a lot of very dangerous people coming over along with hardworking families. Yeah, that is definitely true, but yeah, we should then make sure like yeah, the people who are cutting fentanyls into people's pills, they are murderers. Give them the death penalty. Like Tucker Carlson apparently isn't for the death penalty. I'm definitely in favor of the death penalty. I think if you take someone's life away, you shouldn't have the right to life. Like you just lost that. But I don't know. It's like earlier I had 0 views and now I have 2 views. I want to end the stream, but it's like, dude, like y'all know me, y'all know I'm irrelevant. Bro, I'm getting the attention now, and it's like, fuck, dude. What do I blow up more? Fuck. Okay, it went back down to 1. It's like, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. By the way, I fucking I take Ritalin, my ADHD pills. Like I pretty much like I take it for depression. It is prescribed for ADHD, whatever. I take it for that. Like at some points, I just got a pill like that off of a friend, and I realized, well, I used to be prescribed that. It didn't exactly work for me, and it like I was prescribed Adderall. It had some really weird effects on me, but like he gave me a pill, and it was pretty similar to Ritalin, and the doctor put me on that, and like. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do fucking anything without it. So like there are definitely some like good drugs, but yeah, like I don't know. I think like my body, my choice again. I think you should be able to say kill yourself if you want to. Like if you want to hurt it, it's like the government shouldn't force you to be healthy. At that point, why don't we abolish McDonald's? Just like they like clearly McDonald's is unhealthy and it's making people die earlier and it's making people need healthcare when healthcare isn't affordable in this country for the middle class and third class. So yeah, dude. Anyway, like yeah, I think I'm just gonna end the live stream for this. Just a good point to end. So hopefully y'all have liked this live stream, and I will see y'all next time. Ah, fuck, that firecracker didn't fucking blow up. That's gay. Let me just get this one. How about this one? Does that blow up? Fuck yeah.